welcome in. I'm sending out some, I'm trying to send out to different people. I notice I send to the same people all the time. So I want to make sure I'm sharing out the live with a variety of peeps. You know what I mean? Maybe get some new friendlies, new enemies, new frenemies. I don't know. I don't know. Who's in the box? Who's in the box? Good morning, Chief. Can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
What's up? I'm 39.
Are you a Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible?
I certainly was at one point.
Well, what's on your mind this morning?
Well, I went on tour recently to all the churches I used to attend as a kid. And I thought, you know what? Maybe they would be willing to help me. I'm in a very, very unique and peculiar situation I find myself in. Me and my dog are homeless, right? After a series of very strange events. And I'm not because I don't even drink alcohol. I'm not on any. I smoke weed and cigarettes. Admittedly, that's it. And I probably shouldn't have said that on TikTok. My bad. But try to keep it PG-13. And try to keep it PG. Yeah. So, but anyway, I'm not a crazy person, And I figured maybe somebody at these churches I used to go to as a kid would be willing to help in some way or whatever. And I got like no help, no love from any of these churches that I used to attend. I went on like a church tour one Sunday. As a matter of fact, the church my mom went to, and she got brainwashed by this discovery program. It was like a Donnie Darko. It was just like a Donnie Darko brainwashing camp type situation, and everyone at that church has such like a bad, evil vibe to them. It's great. It's measured. It's like observable. You know what I mean? So, and it's really funny because it started off as like Bandera Road Church, and then it turned into City Church, and so now I'm joking that they're going to turn it into State Church and National Church.
Yeah. And none of them helped?
Yeah. No, not at all. Not even remotely. It was more like, as a matter of fact, they sent a bad Santa dude who looked like an evil Santa Claus to like tell me to get out of there. Because I had my dog with me. I was trying to find a home for my dog at the same time. Like, maybe I can find a home for my dog while everyone's getting out of church, And no, they kicked me out of there. And but I got the dirt on that church. One of their youth pastors did exactly what you think you would do with a 16-year-old instead of his wife, of his children. And that happened. I guess they renamed the whole church to City Church at that point. But then they brainwashed my mom with this super expensive like brainwash camp that you have to like drive to Austin for. It's like $400 or some shit like that. And they turned my mom into an Erica Kirk, straight up. And they Erica Kirked my mom. It's so weird. She went totally like MAGA and just like not who she used to be. You know what I mean? And a very weird situation there. But I did end up going to Black Church towards the end of my tour. And let me tell you, that was amazing. If anyone doesn't have a family or family members that are like any good, go to Black Church. It feels like everyone feels like one big family. It's so cool. Such an amazing environment. And like, I didn't even ask them for help, of course. Like, I didn't even tell them what I was doing, But I was just there. The music was so good. I was checking it out. So if you're going to go to church at all, I 10 out of 10 recommend going to your local Black church. Even if you're just lonely or bored on a weekend, do it. It's the best show. I'm a musician. I'm a professional entertainer. And I'll tell you, they put on the best show, the best music I've seen in years. It was so good. Left feeling great after having a really rough morning of going to a bunch of really crappy churches. It left me feeling good at the end. It was really cool. So just an interesting experience that I had, and I figured maybe an atheist would be able to help me more than all these nasty churches. That one cool little atheist lady all on her own could probably help me more than all those churches.
I'm going to try right now. So here's the thing. Do you have a Cash App or a Venmo or a PayPal?
Oh, hell yeah. That would be great. But yeah, there's a lot of free ways y'all can help. There's plenty of free ways y'all can help too if someone doesn't have money as well. Yeah, so I think one of the best free ways you can help is to, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Reckless Ben, but I'm basically the Texas version of him. And I found myself in a crazy situation fighting the LDS Church, very similar to this Lego brick situation, but way worse. And if I can get his attention, that would probably help me out. You know, if you don't have any money or dollars to send, just send my story to Reckless Ben or bug Candace Owens. You know, bug some media about it and see if I can get some media attention now. Because it's been like a year since I encountered.
I can't stand Candace Owens, so I would never send her this, but I can try to help you get to Reckless Ben. But I'm not going to help anybody.
No, I totally understand the sentiment. I'm not the biggest Candace Owens fan myself. I believe in dinosaurs a lot. In fact, I love dinosaurs, so we got dinosaur beef, me and Candace Owens. But I will say that her investigation of the Charlie Kirk show is very consolidated, concise, and data. It's very information dense, you know. So
she harmed her own people for so long that I just can't support her. But here's the thing: if you have Discord, also I'm on Discord. The link is in my bio, and I have a place on my Discord called Cup of Kindness. And you can go there and put your story and ask people to share and ask people to help you. And we're not a huge Discord. I only have like 275 members, but I have very loving people in my Discord, so you can always put it there.
I bet we could have some real fun because outside of me needing help, I bet I could help you and everybody. There's this new renaissance going on right now with Christianity, and kind of Pandora's box has been blown open in Christianity. And so what we're doing is reading the ancient Greek context for everything and kind of exposing Christianity for what it is. And their days are numbered, right? I think that critical religion theory is one of the most important things we could talk about. Because, you know, you can't control your race, but you can control your religion. So let's be critical about something that we can control, right?
Yeah, I actually think we should be critical about everything. We need to use more critical thinking skills.
More criticism. Yes, let's welcome criticism. Exactly.
Good to see you, Brad. But yeah, good morning, Ace. Good morning, Eddie's World. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Good to see you.
Good to see you guys this morning. Today I'm trying to be a better person today, you guys. And so if any of you want to stick around today and help me be a better person, I would really like it. I'm not even joking. Yesterday I had a Christian woman on, and I frankly think I was a fucking bitch to her. I really do. I'm not happy with the way I did.
Oh, that's so cute of you to recognize, though. That's so cute that you recognize that. Just you recognizing that is like so much better than the average American right out the gate. You know what I mean? And that pretty much, I think, that hopefully that makes your nervous system feel better. It really should. And my secret for being less, I have a secret weapon for being less than Apple.
Yeah, well, tell me what it is.
A supplement called N-acetylcysteine, NAC. It's a precursor to glutathione, which is your body's natural antioxidant. And it just helps you get more sleep. It helps you remove toxins from your body, you know, that cause oxidative stress. And when you have less oxidative stress, you're just less of an asshole. I realized as soon as I started taking it, it made me a better musician. And less of an I realized, you know what, I was meaner to that person than I needed to be. And I just like, I keep that window of friendliness open with everyone now. And so I have to attribute some of that to this supplement that I found that's dirt cheap. It's called NAC, and it also fights the C word, keeps you young. You should love it for a number of reasons. It helps people fight addictions and cravings, like even if it's Netflix or sugar or toxic relationships. It's amazing stuff, and it's dirt cheap, so I recommend it. You talk to your doctor first, but check it out.
I'll buy your snake oil.
Eddie's World and Ace, the reason why I was specifically telling you about it was because I want to have conversations. I don't want to be combative. And I know that a lot of times people tune in because they want to see me chew somebody out or whatever, you know? But that's not who I actually want to be. And I feel really shitty about it.
You gotta find humor. You gotta think of it more funnily than it is. Even if they're being super aggressive and just vulgar, you gotta be like, yeah, whatever.
You feel bad about it, though. Like, feeling bad about it is such a good thing about you. So that's like, so embrace that. And it's okay to feel that guilt. Because, like, there is a time.
I'm so sorry. You're really breaking up. It was really
had my AC on, I'm sorry. That should be a little better.
So I have like a way where I do it, because you know I managed to keep my cool in situations that are shocking to an average person. The way I think about it is, if they're not doing the 3 Fs, what they say doesn't matter to me.
I always think that, hey, open book. I always think I'm going to start the day, I think, I'm just coming here for conversation. And then something happened. Like yesterday, to be honest with you, my first guest was a horrible person, Home Slice. In case you don't know who he is, he's a evil.
I just dealt with him earlier. Yeah, that guy's horrible.
He's a horrible person. And I think when you start off your conversations like that, for me, it probably immediately puts me on the defensive. You know what I mean? Like, after that, it's very hard for me not to bring down my defenses and just relax.
I was here yesterday, right? So it's true, like you with that girl, it was kind of like, but I get it also. When you have somebody like that guy come up and like say these things, and then a woman who seems very young and who's like supporting this, and it's like, I get it. Like the anger of like, get out of there. What are you saying? Do you not see it? And because you know you're the age you are, I'm 40. Like it's horrible to see. You're like, I want to shake you. I want you to see this. I want it so bad. Like, please, at least wake up to like the truth of what you're like looking at. At least understand. Like so. But like you recognize, and I get where you were coming from yesterday too, and you were also saying you're like, I'm so mad, I really want to get to these like young women, and you're talking about yourself and saying how you wish somebody had like also like shaking you up. So, and
I know that not everybody needs that, so that's not necessarily the approach everybody needs, and so it's. But the other thing is that I also know she was using tactics that many narcissists use, many manipulative people use, and I know she was doing that. And when you do that, I often will double down. Like, I am not going to allow you to use whatever psychology you use on me. I'm going to do the opposite, okay? Because I can't fucking stand when people are trying to manipulate me. You cannot manipulate a manipulator. It doesn't work. We see right through it, right? I was manipulated my whole life growing up, so I learned very quickly how to manipulate, you know? And I can see it a mile away. So when you do that calm thing while you say very antagonizing things, you're doing that to get a reaction, and you got one. You know, you got one. But I feel bad. And if I could, I would invite her back and apologize, but I couldn't find her. So I'm apologizing to all of you because I think I acted shitty. And I'm not a shitty person. And I feel really bad.
No, you're a good person.
You're human, just like all of us. And it's stuff that happens, you know, and you coming back and saying like, that was not okay. I should not have like given into that part of me and like let that come out that way. That's enough. That's what you need to be doing. You're growing and learning from it. That's all we can do. And it's okay. You'll now when you like feel that way, maybe that will also come up like this time, like, oh right, I did that last time. This is not what I want to do this time. But I also get what you were saying, that kind of being nice and that Christian kind of like. It's enraging because you're like what you're saying, what you're supporting is not like fitting with the way you're speaking about it. At least like no. So yeah.
So when I am live from now on, there's some things you guys can do to help me. when I am losing my cool and you want to take over for me, you can just say, hey, Crystal, can I try this one? Even if I'm in the middle of it, and I will realize, oh, okay. Because here's the thing, I also never get like this on somebody else's life. I feel like I do it because I'm in my own house and I feel like I can. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be that person. I don't want to release all my anger about how I feel about this horrific religion on one little Christian who comes up here to have a conversation. I really don't. I was then. I was a fucking Christian who, I told you guys, I literally was a Fox News watcher. I mean, Bill O'Reilly was my man, Rush Limbaugh all the way. And I don't know, maybe I take out my anger of myself on them or something, and I don't want to do that anymore.
That is so respectable of you. You are the coolest, sweetest lady for even having empathy. Like, so many Americans don't even have that. You're good, and you know what? There is a time to be mean, and when that time comes around, you just call me up. I'm so good at cooking these dudes in like 2 minutes. I'll handle it for you nice and easy. I'll send them running out of here. You won't even have to kick them.
So I'm gonna ask this one last time, probably, and I understand if it's a no, but are you adopting? Because I would love to be.
Will you be my mom?
I'm adopting nibblings. I'll be your auntie, okay?
My dog needs a house too. Rufio needs a home too.
Hi, Crystal.
Good morning, Open Book. How are you?
I'm well. I'm outside, so I won't stay long. And I was not here. I don't know what happened. I don't need a repeat to explain. But one thing that really got me was your awareness to yourself, right? And the fact that you're very accountable, and you see the part that you play in a situation. I think a lot when it comes to being online, we deal with so many different personalities, and we also want to be we don't want to to remake or imitate or even indirectly come off as the people that we talk with, right? So sometimes as humans, when we get upset with a situation, your emotions really reminded me of something that I recently dealt with, where I reacted, but I reacted in such a way that it embarrassed me, but the reaction came from something that happened that should not have never happened. And I, at first, only saw how I was embarrassing myself. I felt like I was embarrassing myself, and I was wilding out on my live emotionally, and I got teary-eyed over a situation. I got very upset, and it traveled for a couple days. But then I realized that I'm a human being, I'm allowed to get upset, and I'm dealing with people that don't think like me. And like you said, you clocked the tactic and the game. And that could be a lot on a person too. When you realize what a person's doing, and you're like, how do I navigate this? I see exactly what you're doing. I just want to give you kudos for being aware of yourself, and saying I'm on a path of changing and growing, and I don't want to show a bad side of me, but still you're a human. I don't think this side of you is a bad side. I think you handled it great, and I wasn't even there. The fact that you're very aware of yourself and you're willing to, even say sorry. I don't even know if that person deserves a sorry, but you're I'm just still gonna say sorry to y'all because y'all saw it. That says a lot about yourself. So that's all I want to say.
Love you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I was feeling I did not think I was going to come on here and cry. By the way, I did not wake up this morning going, I'm going to get on live and just start crying. It was not how that was planned. I just knew that I felt really, really shitty about how I acted yesterday and how I do act, and I don't want to be known as the old fucking bitchy lady of the community. I just don't. I don't want people to think, oh, we don't want Crystal to be on our panel because she fucking yells at people all the time. She can't control herself. I don't want to be that person. And I don't know if I'm that person, but I feel like it. And the way I acted yesterday, it just, one of my friends did leave because they did not like the way I was acting. And I knew that's why they left. They didn't say anything to me. I went to them and I said, I was too much. I know it. And I thought, I really do want to have conversations over combat. That's more important to me. And so that's why the topic today is just what's on your mind and not something like God is evil, you know. But I want to have the conversations. I want to talk about things, and I want to learn from people. And I want them to learn from me. And I don't think anybody's going to learn anything from me if they can't hear me because I'm yelling. People tune out when you start yelling. They don't listen. And I know that I don't act like this with everybody, right? Because I don't treat any of you like this. If we even have disagreements, I still don't talk to you that way, right? So,
yes, ma'am. Yes.
Treat people like that.
You're not to lose your cool with people that you find to be your friends. Especially like when you're in a conversation. But as I said, the way, like, because you've seen my lives, very seldom do I ever, like, lift my voice, and I just think of it, if they're not doing the 3 F's, I don't care what they say. They can say some of the most outrageous things, and it's not going to bother me, because I don't know them in person. They're not feeding me. They're not financing me. And y'all can guess the 3rd F.
Let me get some tissue while you guys keep talking. I can hear you.
Feather.
Hey, Crystal, I just wanted to say that, I've been, following you for a while, and I think that you are probably one of the nicest atheist content creators on here, and I've seen, I've just sat silent and seen how you interact with people, and I can say with 100% confidence that you are so nice until they won't let you be. And that's not something to be ashamed of, in my opinion.
Well, thank you. I sure didn't feel like that yesterday. I felt like I didn't give her a chance. And I feel like we could have probably had a more meaningful conversation if I would have just given her a chance to talk and not shut her down at every moment. I don't know. I just felt that way, and I felt mean, and I didn't feel like I accomplished what I wanted to.
Well, you are not mean, and you know what? None of us are perfect, and hindsight is, what is that phrase? Hindsight's the best, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. We're not perfect, but I feel like as long as we try to be, then that's something, and I feel like you are trying to improve, and that speaks a lot about your character. And I just want to come up and say that, because I don't like seeing you hurt, because you are just amazing. You're fantastic, and I love you so much. I can't believe I love somebody so much that I've never met, but I adore you, and so many people do.
I really appreciate that, and I really do feel very loved by this community. This is the best community I've ever been in my life, but I want to expand this community. I want more Christians to join us, right? I want more Christians to realize how horrible they've been lied to, how they've been duped, how they don't have to be so hateful. That's not the answer. And I'm not going to get that message across if I'm hurting them. And I don't want to. I gotta let my cat out real quick. And then, if you want, I can do a sermon. Come on.
Ooh, yeah.
Even for me, like I'm thankful that I just stumbled across in you and that you were alive because, you know, I know for my own self, like I've done the same thing. Like I sat back and like looked at myself and like the way I engage with people online and said like, is this helpful? Is this harmful? Is this good for content? Is this good for me and my mental health? And I think one of the things that you said is very real is that like outside of the conversations with Christians, come on. Outside of the conversations with Christians, you said, I don't treat you guys like this. I don't get like this. When you're conversating with people that do not agree with you, to the point where like they like want hell on you and things like that, it takes a lot. And I think that a lot that it takes is like where you're going towards. Like you've come so far, Crystal, when it comes to conversating with these people. Me, I said I can't do this. I'm gonna have to change like my whole approach to this because it's too much for me, and I can't do it, you know? And I think it takes a lot for a person like you or other atheists to say, I'm gonna continue having these conversations because it's gonna be good for a community. I just want you to like understand from me to you, like you're doing really well. You've come really far. You're not perfect. And you're not going to be able to appease everybody, you know? You're going to have plenty more engagements, you know, so take this one as a lesson, and maybe the next one, you know, you can remember the last one.
That's what I'm hoping. Like, I'm really, it's just, I think when I sit down and I think, oh, today I want to have these, you know, really good conversations. I don't want to fight today and stuff. But even in that moment yesterday, there was at least one or two times where it came across my mind that it was like, this isn't what you wanted to do today. Like, this isn't how you wanted to act. This is not how you wanted to present yourself. Remember, you were going to calm down. Remember, you were going to have the conversation. And that almost made me double down on myself after that. I was like, no. You know?
Crystal, you're neurodivergent, right?
Yes.
Because I know some things we kind of tend to have in common throughout neurodivergence, right? And dopamine, I know, plays kind of a role with everything. Did you know that your brain gets dopamine from getting into arguments?
Well, that sucks, because I'm really good
It really does. It really does. But, like, since you've also talked to us today and said, you know, like, if we tell you, hey, Crystal, maybe you want to let me try for a little bit or something like that, which will be, like, somebody else reaching out. It's much easier to kind of, like, step down, step back, because you get that time to, like, even if you need to get up and kind of go get a glass of water, do whatever, because it cuts it off, and it makes it much easier to, like, start up again. It's useless feeling guilty about it now. You're recognizing it. You're figuring it out. That's the best you can do. And that's what you are doing. And that's how you grow, and that's how you can get better at it. And this is not going to come up as much. It's not going to happen as much, especially by telling other people and not, like, harboring it. And that tends to make it, like, happen again, I find. So
that's why I did this. I was like, I need to just face this head on. It's really bugging me, and I have OCD, and I did not want to ruminate on it all day, you know? Because that's what happens with me is
I get upset like that in times when I don't want to, and sometimes it's with my kid, or sometimes, you know, I'll overreact with my mom a lot, and I feel horrible. And feeling horrible, I've realized, just makes it way worse. It tends to, like, because it, like, comes up even more. And I've been working on saying, well, you know what, this is just, it's okay. Like, you got mad, you're human, it happens. Say sorry for it, and, like, that also is the first step. And I think you're doing great, so, yeah.
I mean, really try to focus on maybe one even little bit that you can take away from it. It can really help you.
I thought I will do, you know, I was like, okay, what I'm going to do is learn from this moment, and then I'm going to pick a very non-toxic topic for today. What's on your mind? You know, like, they can tell me anything, right? And then I'm gonna let my friends know that I'm bothered by this. This is not who I want to be, and have accountability to all of you. I think accountability is really important for me, and hopefully I won't ruminate on it all day. Hopefully. It's very hard with OCD. I never know if something's gonna bug me all day or not.
You know, that's the one ability I would hope everybody would have is accountability.
I strongly believe in accountability.
I think it's a little overwhelming amount of accountability. You're doing a lot. I think you did good, and I think I give you a lot of like credit. You know, at least you're not making excuses. Like I'm sure I didn't see it, right? But I feel like right now, like you're taking even some of the accountability that she could take. I think you're taking it all, and you're like, it's all my fault, and it's not. I'm sure it's not. I wasn't even there, and I'm sure it's not all your fault.
I'm sure it's not too. I really am. But I don't know. I guess I feel like I should be the bigger person because I am older and I am atheist. So she's indoctrinated, right? Like I think that I was like her, and I would have been like her too. I would have acted just like her. That's why I wonder if sometimes psychologically I'm not just yelling at myself. You know what I mean? Like, am I just mad that that's who I was? I don't know. It's something I have to talk about with my therapist on July 7th, I guess, right?
Sometimes I always think when like situations come like this, and you know, it's like, whoa, I'm spending all my time focusing on them, and I bet they're not even thinking about me one bit. And here,
no, sure, she's not. She probably doesn't even remember.
Exactly. She's living rent free in your head right now.
That's true. But I think that it's more about my behavior and me wanting to change and finding it hard to control my anger in situations and stuff. I really want to be cool and collected, and I'm not. It's bugging me.
But you have to remember that it takes time to change, and it's not something where you just snap your fingers and it happens. It's hard to change something, especially like you said it, you were indoctrinated for a long time and had this way of like maybe reacting to things or being very stuck on certain things and then coming out of that and then being like talking to people who are still in it. You're human. That's going to bring up things. That's going to trigger things in you, which you are also still working through on your own level. Give yourself, you're not asking from God anymore, give yourself grace for it as well, you know, for like when you mess up. This is part of getting there. It's part of it. There are going to be mess ups. There are going to be times where we do, even if you were the best version of yourself that you want to be, right? There would still be times where there are days where you're not going to do your very best, or you're going to mess up, or you're going to get angry. And that's okay. That's what makes us all human. That's what we're all in this together. That's what keeps us all in this together, too, more than anything else.
There's Emma. Good morning, Emma. Or afternoon or evening. I don't know what it is.
Oh, good evening. And good morning to all of you that have mornings.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good. Well, you guys, I think I will do an Auntie sermon for you today. This is going to be an encore. I haven't written any of the new sermons for Exodus yet because I want to get the book done and get Genesis caught up on the podcast a little bit before I write some new ones for Exodus. But I'll be getting into those probably as we head into the fall. So right now, let's see, who do we want to do here? Recently, we have done King. We did an encore for Eve. We've done Cain's wife. I think that we talked about Ada and Zillah, and not a mob, but I don't think that I've done Daughters of Humans for a while. So that's what I think we'll do today. All right. I'm going to go ahead and mute you up, Emma, and then I'm going to go ahead and start. You guys, you can bring people up or drop down as you see fit while I'm doing this sermon. Thank you all for being my therapist. I swear I did not know I was going to cry. I usually cannot actually cry in front of other people. So you all actually make me feel very safe, just so you know. I have a hard time usually being vulnerable in front of like a crowd. I can't do the thing where people turn the camera on themselves while they're crying. The minute I turn that camera on, I will stop crying. so it means that you guys all make me feel very safe, and I appreciate you all. All right, Daughters of Humans. When I realized this was the next story that actually mentions a girl, a woman, or really women in the Bible, I thought, oh, this will be fun. Because to me, this story is just ridiculous. And honestly, I don't think I ever really knew this story when I was a Christian. When I was a Christian, I believed the flood happened because people on earth were so evil, lying, cheating, stealing, pillaging, all of that. I did not know about the Nephilim. I did not know about the sons of God. I did not know that the story actually begins with powerful beings sleeping with human women. Here's how the story is introduced. Genesis 6, 1 through 4. When people began to multiply on the face of the ground and the daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that they were fair, and they took wives for themselves of all that they chose. Then the Lord said, "My spirit." I do not remember this story from when I was a Christian, and when I read it now as a non-believer, it immediately struck me as strange. Like it didn't belong where it was placed, like somebody crammed it into the text without really knowing what to do with it. And it turns out biblical scholars largely agree with that instinct. Many Old Testament and Hebrew Bible scholars note that Genesis 6, 1 through 4 reads like a fragment from an older myth that was never fully integrated into the flood narrative. It interrupts the flow of the text, introduces divine beings without explanation, centers their actions toward human women, and then abruptly shifts to blaming human wickedness for the flood. Scholars often describe this passage as a preserved mythological remnant, something inherited from earlier traditions that later editors kept, but never fully explained or resolved. Before Christianity ever tried to smooth this story out, Jewish interpreters wrestled with it honestly. In rabbinic tradition, the sons of God are often understood as angels or divine beings who overstep their boundaries. The women are human women, daughters of humanity, who are acted upon, not blamed. The problem in these interpretations isn't sex, it's violation. Powerful beings crossing lines, abusing power, and bringing chaos into the world. In these traditions, the flood is connected to cosmic disorder. I'm sorry, I lost my place there for a second. In these traditions, the flood is connected to cosmic disorder, a breakdown between heaven and earth, not simply to bad human behavior. The issue is not that humans are too sinful, but that boundaries meant to protect the world were shattered. Later Christian interpretations take a noticeably different turn. The sons of God become fallen angels, demons, or sometimes just human rulers, or the so-called righteous line of Seth. The women, meanwhile, become morally suspect, temptresses, symbols of corruption, or cautionary tales. The focus shifts away from powerful beings abusing power and toward humanity's supposed inherent sinfulness. Responsibility moves downward. Power disappears from the story, and the flood becomes God's response to human depravity rather than to a violation of boundaries that God never stops. Now I want to slow this story way down and focus on the only human beings who actually appear in it, the women. They are seen, they are evaluated, they are taken. And the text never once asks the question it should: consent. And when God responds, there is no condemnation of the sons of God, no accountability. Instead, the narrative pivots to declaring that humanity is wicked and the world is destroyed. The violation of consent disappears, the women disappear, and the blame spreads everywhere except upward. And here's another reason this story doesn't fit. I've talked to Christian after Christian about it, and when you ask who the sons of God were, you get some of the wildest explanations imaginable. They were giants. And the longer the story gets told, the taller the giants get. Sometimes they're 16 feet tall. Sometimes they're described as towering over cities. Sometimes, and I am not exaggerating, they're described as being as tall as mountains. And then we're told they slept with human women. And nobody ever stops to think about how that would have been physically possible. No one pauses and asks about anatomy, physics, or logistics, because actually thinking about it would make the whole thing fall apart. When a story can't survive basic questions, belief doesn't clarify it, it escalates it. And at this point, some of you are probably thinking, okay, but what does this have to do with my actual life? Fair. So let me make this relatable in the weirdest way I know how. Weird Al Yankovic. I know a lot of people think Weird Al as just the funny song guy. And yes, he absolutely writes funny songs. But Weird Al is also a celebrity with something incredibly rare. A decades-long career, real staying power, and his integrity fully intact. And one of the things Weird Al has consistently said matters to him is consent. Here's the part most people don't realize. Legally, he doesn't have to care. Under U.S. copyright law, parody is protected as fair use. A parody does not require permission from the original artist. Weird Al could legally write and release parody songs without asking anyone, and the law would be completely on his side. But he doesn't do that. He always asks for consent anyway. One of the best examples of this is Amish Paradise, his parody of Coolio's Gangsta's Paradise. Weird Al asked for permission through Coolio's management and was told yes. Believing he had consent, he wrote the song. It was released. It became a massive hit. After that song was already out, Coolio publicly said he was upset and claimed he hadn't personally approved it. At that point, there was nothing Weird Al could undo. But it's important to say this clearly. Weird Al had not acted maliciously. He genuinely believed consent had been given. Years later, Coolio acknowledged that the situation had been a misunderstanding. He admitted he had overreacted, reconciled with Weird Al, and the two of them performed Amish Paradise together on stage. And I don't tell this story to dunk on Coolio. I tell it because Weird Al didn't have to ask in the first place, but he did anyway. And when things went sideways, he didn't get defensive. He didn't double down. He didn't weaponize the law. He stayed consistent with who he was. That consistency shows up everywhere in his career, how meticulous he is with his music, how loyal he's been to the same band members since before he was famous, how there's never been a real scandal attached to his name. Consent has always mattered to him, not because the law required it, but because it benefited him. And not because it benefited him, but because it was the right thing to do. And here's the uncomfortable truth that ties all of this together. A parody musician demonstrates better ethics around consent than the God of this Bible, the men who wrote it, and the so-called sons of God in Genesis. Weird Al asks, the sons of God take, God floods the world. One understands that power does not equal permission. The other treats power as entitlement, and that gap matters. Because the God of this text does not ask. He chooses without consent. He takes without permission, and then he calls it love. And once you see that pattern, you can't unsee it. And before I end this, I want to bring us back to where we started with the women. The women in Genesis 6, the women whose ages we don't know, the women whose voices never appear, the women who are seen, desired, taken, and then erased from the story. Whatever you believe about gods or angels or myths, these women mattered. Their bodies mattered, their consent mattered. But the story never asks, it never pauses, it never protects them. Instead, their violation becomes background noise and the consequences fall everywhere except on the ones who held the power. That's why I wrote the song Consent. Not just for myself, but for them. For the women whose silence was treated as agreement. For the women whose no was never recorded. For the women whose bodies became theology. Consent isn't silence. Consent isn't obedience. Consent isn't survival. Consent is explicit, especially when power is involved. If you don't get a yes, you never had consent. That line exists because those women never got to say it, because their story was told without them, because their boundaries were never the point. So when I wrote this song, it was not rebellion, it was remembrance. It was naming what was missing. It was saying out loud what the text refuses to say. Their violation was not love. Their bodies were not permission. Their silence was not consent. Consent. I'm going to play it for you right now.
Consent is not an option to me. Consent. Respect the boundaries. C-O-N-S-E-N-T. No praying. No praying. No touch, don't speak to me without my fucking C-O-N-S-E-N-T. You love your neighbor, but you better ask first. You pray on trauma with that holy thirst. You catch these hands if you lay hands on me without my fucking C-O-N-S-E-N-T. If you don't get a yes, you'll never have consent. So bitch, don't
book. You wanted to say something. Go ahead.
I'm probably gonna drop after this, and I know this is like a little bit off of the topic, but I just want for the people that are listening that may have like seen comments in the comment section. I didn't even know what a transmedicalist was. I did go off of the app to try to like inbox. I think her name's Katie, and Katie blocked me. I feel like if Katie didn't really want to have a conversation with me, I feel like Katie's comment in the comment section, which was misinformation about me anyway, it wouldn't have been stated. I try my best on this app as a person with a very outspoken personality. I know I'm a lot to handle, but when drama comes, I try my best to like be mature about it. I don't think what she did was mature at all, so I tried to be mature and like really like figure out what she felt and where it came from, and like maybe we can unpack it. And she blocked me. So I just feel like moving forward, if a person doesn't agree with you, just like with any situation, we can just move forward. I can't please them all, but the fact that I just tried to be an adult about it and she blocked me, it just showed that she really wasn't trying to do anything except cause discourse in the comment section, and it really just offsetted me. I came in here to give you support. I came in here to support Crystal. I came in here to show Crystal love. And ironically, I became the topic of conversation. So as I move out of this space, I just want to say I did try to DM her and have a conversation, and it didn't work out. So Crystal, I'm sorry for what you went through.
And see what happened in the comments of the book, but I do know you both, and I find you both to be very caring and good people. And I think that if you do guys have it, and I'd love to DM her and ask her if you two could talk it out, because I actually think you both are very rational people, and I think that whatever has happened has been some kind of horrible misunderstanding. But if you don't want me to DM her, I won't either. But I just want you to know that I respect both of you.
I don't mind, because that's what I didn't even know who she was until I saw the account name, and I didn't know who she was. So for somebody to be like, yeah, I saw your spaces, I was in your spaces, and I don't agree with them, I'm like, well, yeah, like as a person who's deconstructing and learning and growing, I'm open to it. But the fact that she's like, no, I don't want to talk with you, but I'll still go to other people, she said, and talk about you to others. I'll still tell other people that you're harmful, but I don't want to talk with you. I just felt that to be weird. Like, I don't like that. As a person that I'm not always right, deconstructing homophobia within myself. Like, I know I can be wrong about some things, but I don't think I've ever stood for a transmedicalism. I've always stood for, like, effort matters. If a trans woman or a trans man is putting in effort, that should be the first thing that we care about. We shouldn't be breaking them down to surgeries and hormones. But the fact that she was in the comment section saying that I'm a transmedicalist, I actually had to go and define the word and figure out what it was to then realize that I don't even stand for that. So if you don't mind doing that, sure. I wasn't saying this for you to get in the middle. I was saying it because I know you.
I know you weren't. It's just that I do really like you both, and so I just thought, you know what? I think that these two people are the type of people that if they just spoke to each other, they'd probably be able to figure it all out. I think there are some people that if they came up here and they had beef, I wouldn't even offer that, because I would be like, nope, you two will never get along. You know what I mean? But sometimes you see two people who are having a misunderstanding and you think, these are two very rational people. And I think they probably see they have more in common than they realize or whatever. You know what I mean? There are some people I wouldn't waste my breath trying to communicate for.
Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate it. And I love your lives. I'm always tuning in.
I love you.
I want you to have a better day. Please smile. You're beautiful. You're appreciated. You are loved. People are always talking nice things about you. I've never heard a negative thing. So please continue, okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day. And if you are in the chat and you want to come up and talk, I just want to know what's on your mind. I'm taking believers, non-believers, anybody who wants to come up. Hey, Dreamy, how are you? I had a wonderful birthday. I went with my family to Sedona for a few days, and then when I got back, I went live all day, and it was really a beautiful birthday. Hey, nerd, how are you? So did anybody have any comments or questions or anything about the sermon, or want to talk about consent or anything else?
That was an awesome sermon, though. Thank you again for that.
I feel like when I read the older ones, I always feel like I need to rewrite them. I feel like I didn't put enough. I'm like, wait a minute. That's all I said about what the rabbis had to say or whatever, you know? I always want to rewrite them. I was talking to somebody about that. Who was I talking about that with? That after leaving, it's like I find more interesting shit in the scriptures than I ever did when I was a believer. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
I find it completely makes sense. I'm so much more.
Oh, you got mute. You got like you covered up your mic or something.
Oh, sorry. I have my finger on it. Just realized I keep on doing that. But yeah, it's so much more fascinating now, where it's also so much more freeing because I can look into like everything that surrounds it. If there's other similar stories and where they come from, the little pieces. I love that, like all the symbology and trying to take it apart to better understand why it was put together that way. I love that. That to me is just like I can spend hours and hours and hours on it.
Yeah, you know, that was one thing, like, as a Christian, I don't know, like, I seriously, okay, first of all, as a Protestant Christian, I didn't know who anybody was, like Josephus or Clement or Thomas Aquinas, right? But I certainly didn't know about the ancient Near East, and not that I do now, okay, don't get me wrong. I'm saying that I'm learning about it now. I didn't even have, any... If you would have asked me where the Bible was, I would have never said in the ancient Near East or in the Levant region. I wouldn't have even known those were words to say. I wouldn't have known shit. I would have known what only my pastor had told me. And he certainly didn't talk about geography and history and archaeology. You know what I mean? Chad, if you want to come up and talk, today is open mic, basically. You can come up and just tell us what's on your mind. Tell us about how cringe we are. Tell us how it's weird to not believe in anything. It's okay. It's open mic. Feel free. I just need to get your age first for TikTok purposes.
32.
Okay, so go ahead. What do you want to talk about today?
Why do you believe in nothing? That's like a sad existence.
Well, it's not that I believe in nothing, because I don't think nothing is a thing, right? There's always something, right? So I just believe in reality, and I believe in human relationships.
Can you define atheism then?
Atheism is simply the lack of belief in a god or gods. That's all. You can believe in all kinds of other things. But, I know atheists that believe in magic. I don't particularly believe in magic, but I know atheists that do.
So you have no beliefs whatsoever?
I don't believe in anything supernatural. I believe in natural. I believe that if something really cool happens, let's say all of a sudden I walked outside and for some reason my car is floating, I will not immediately go to magic. I will think, what is going on? Is there a scientific reason this is happening? Is there a magnet above my car? Is there a tornado under my car? I'm going to look for a natural explanation first.
So you believe in supernatural stuff, so demons and magic,
I don't.
special beings?
No, I don't.
Then it's not supernatural.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I don't believe in supernatural.
I thought you said you believe.
No, I said I don't believe in supernatural.
So what is it that you believe in?
I believe in reality.
Believing in reality? That's nonsense. Yeah,
I'm sorry, what?
Believing in reality is kind of nonsense. Like,
why?
Non-colloquial BS. Well, what do you really believe in?
What do you mean? I don't understand. I literally do not believe in anything supernatural. I believe in reality and what is, like I said, if I saw something and it appeared to be supernatural, I would look for a natural reason for its occurrence before I would ever look for supernatural. I believe that there has to be some kind of life form. It could be bacteria, microscopic, somewhere on another planet, because we have trillions upon trillions of planets in just our known universe. So the likelihood that we are the only life that exists in all of this is actually narcissistic, in my opinion. There has to be something else out there. We just can't get to it because it's too far away.
Would you consider that to be supernatural?
No, I consider it to be natural. It's life, just like we are.
Aliens?
Aliens are just life forms on a different planet, so they are natural.
You consider that natural? Okay.
Why would it be supernatural? Where's the magic?
Even though there's no existence of it, we'll prove. Where's the magic? Well, I mean, there's absolutely no proof that aliens even exist. Unless you want to take conspiracy theories like Roswell, obelisks on Mars, etc.,
I
etc.
believe that the odds are that there is some
But that would be considered supernatural, because until we actually...
No, it would be natural, just because that's ridiculous. There are fish in the sea right now that I have never seen before. I do not know of their existence. They exist. I just haven't ever heard of them or know about them. And there might be some that scientists have never found yet. That doesn't make them supernatural. They're still natural.
So aliens telepathically communicating and levitating in front of you is not supernatural?
You didn't say all that.
Yeah, no. She's not saying she believes in the alien like conspiracies and like little gray people and like the movie version of aliens. What we're saying here is there has to be other life forms within the universe because it is so vast. It is impossible that we are just a one-off fluke within the vastness of this entire universe, which doesn't mean that we believe in like them having supernatural powers. Who the hell knows what is out there? But since it's part of the natural world, it would be natural. Supernatural is not part of the natural world. The universe is our natural world.
The universe is not our natural world. There's habitats out there and planets that exist that humans would never be able to naturally live on. So to say that it's natural is just disingenuous.
Can you live in a volcano? Can you live in lava? Can you live under the water?
You're kind of proving my point.
No, exactly. But is water and lava natural? Is it part of the natural world?
Is gravity natural?
Yes.
If I land on a planet that has heavy gravity and I instantly combust, is that natural?
What are we really doing here? What are you trying to get to the bottom?
I'm just saying you don't really have any beliefs. You just believe in the things that you've been told to believe around you. Like, for instance, science, for example. Are you vaccinated?
Made it into Christianity.
Hey, Chad, are you trolling?
Yeah.
I'm asking if you're vaccinated. I'm not trolling. I'm asking if you're vaccinated.
Dude, those
She's
questions are like
answered your question, though. I mean, she's answered you and been honest about it.
I'm asking if you're vaccinated.
I am 60 years old. Do you know that at 60 years old, whether you wanted to be vaccinated or not, you are? Excuse me, listen. You asked a question, please listen to the answer, okay? At 60 years old, in the United States, you are vaccinated whether you wanted to be or not, because you had what was called the tetanus shot in your arm, okay, when you were a kid. You had a series of shots before you were ever allowed to enter into a school. So I don't know why you're asking a 60-year-old woman who lives in America whether she's vaccinated or not. Of course I am.
Did you opt in to take the COVID vaccine?
Yes, I did.
Then you are completely full of shit. And nobody should ever take it seriously. Because that's not natural. That's mRNA.
Do you know how we come up with our vaccines, sir? It's all natural. Science is natural. Chemicals are natural. They're part of our natural world.
mRNA is not natural, and you should probably do yourself a favor and Google it if you're going to be so spiritual about everything.
Chad, your body has mRNA in it right now. Like part of your body is comprised of mRNA.
Okay, Chad, I can't, I guess, keep talking about this because I will get flagged. Chad, please.
It's okay.
Chad, can you please listen for just a minute? I can't keep talking about that particular topic because it flags your account. But I do want to say hi to me. Hi, Alex. Are you there?
Hi, yes.
Can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
I'm 19 years old.
Okay, and are you a believer of a god or gods?
Yes, I'm a Christian.
Okay, what did you want to talk about today?
I wanted to ask a question about atheism, about how the universe started.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm not a scientist, and I don't really care how it started because I know that before I die, we'll never have the full answer, okay? That's not going to happen in my lifetime and probably not in yours. But I do believe that what our scientists say is the best explanation that we have so far. And that the universe didn't start, that our known universe is probably lasted for an eternity in some form. Matter, space, time, and energy cannot be created nor destroyed.
Okay, but there is a problem with the infinite universe theory.
Yeah, go ahead.
The problem is, if the universe is infinite in time and space, to come from the minus infinite in time to the present moment, we have to go through an infinite sequential events.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not possible.
Yes, it is. It's completely possible. Just like it's possible. The reason why people think that you can't do that is because they're trying to imagine a starting point so far back and then trying to figure out how we got here. But I'm telling you, there was no starting point. So have you ever heard somebody say that if I want to walk from point A to point B, and I go half the distance each time I take a step, I will never get to point B, because if I half it each time, I can't actually get to my destination. And that's why people think that eternity cannot exist. They think you will never get to this destination, this point in time, right now, if there was an eternal universe. But if I just get up and walk to the wall, not only have I walked the half distance each time, I made it to my destination. So that theory doesn't really work, because there was never a destination when the universe was the universe that we know exists. But that's just the known universe. The universe could have been going on forever, and we are just at one little blip in that forever.
Okay, but that's the problem with this analogy, is that the time is not the same as the distance, you know?
No, I don't know what you're saying.
By this analogy is halving the distance, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't really have the time.
Because time's eternal.
Yes.
Right. I'm saying that I'm not going to go, I don't need to worry about trying to get to this point in time because I'm here at this point in time. I don't need to go, oh, you could never get to this. If the universe can't be eternal, then, like you guys are saying, if the universe can't be eternal because we would never get to this point in time. So numbers could never be eternal, and we could never get to the number 7.
Okay, that's a fair point. But if we agree that the eternal universe theory is valid, that's still a problem. That because all the scientists, or at least the vast majority of scientists, believe that the universe has a starting point.
No, they don't. No, they don't. That's just not true. That is something Christian pastors tell you. First of all, there's a scientist right here on this app daily. I think he's live right now. His name is Dr. Blitz. If you go ask him, he's going to tell you, no, I don't think that. And most scientists don't think that. 68% that were surveyed said, no, we don't think that. Are there scientists who do think that? Sure. But I think the problem is that people have a hard time they have a hard time imagining large numbers, first of all. Like, when you tell people that Elon Musk is a trillionaire and they say they don't care, that's because they don't really fucking understand how much $1 trillion is, and they really cannot comprehend that large of a number. If they did, they would think that he was an evil fucking piece of shit, because nobody should have that kind of money while people were starving on the earth, okay? So because people can't actually understand large numbers, they have an even harder time comprehending eternity and infinity. Those numbers, fuck, that blows their mind away, because since the moment you've been born, you have seen that everything has a start and everything has a finish. So it is very hard for your mind to comprehend that there might be something out there that doesn't have a start or finish. However, you're special pleading, because you're going to tell me your God has no beginning and no end. And I'm telling you that that's not true. There is no God, but the universe has no beginning and no end. And you're going to tell me I'm wrong. And that's weird. Do you understand how hypocritical that is?
Okay, but I do can agree that as a Christian, with the eternal universe theory to be true, and at the same time, our Christian theory that God is eternal.
Yeah, that's kind of a hypocritical thing to say, don't you think? That God is eternal, but the universe can't be?
No, I'm saying that both, I as a Christian who believe in science, can be true, can be valid.
So do you think God had a beginning? I'm sorry, nerd.
No, that was exactly where I was going to go, because it kind of sounds like you're just kicking the can down the road. You're saying that the universe has to have a definitive beginning because you believe that it was created by something, but you're just outsourcing that to a deity. So where did the deity come from? What existed that allowed the deity to come into being?
I said it again. I have no problem with the eternal universe, and at the same time, we can say that God exists, then God is eternal and universe is eternal. But we have many scientists and many scientific proof that said that the universe has a starting point, has a beginning.
A recent scientist who has said that. I want to look him up. I don't want somebody from 20, 40, 50, 60 years ago. I want a recent one, okay?
For example, Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking, who is dead, who is not a recent scientist.
Just because he's dead does not mean he's wrong.
I want a recent scientist because you do understand that what we do as science is that in science, we observe, we do all kinds of experiments and so forth to keep updating data. So when you take something from a dead scientist and say his words are still valid today, that's not true, because there are people who have probably proved him wrong the minute he was put in the grave. So I'm asking you for but I don't think Hawking believed that either. So let's look that up.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now, actually. And he passed away in 2018.
So because the person is not alive,
I just explained to you why again. It's because the information is outdated.
Yeah, science keeps going even after Hawking passed away. It's not like he passed away and then they just stopped looking into it. New information becomes available and we update our understanding based on that new data.
And let me clarify for everybody that you are wrong about what you just said about Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking said that the standard Big Bang cosmology, he accepted that as our observable universe had a hot, dense beginning about 13.8 billion years ago. But he argued that that does not necessarily mean an absolute beginning from nothing.
So by the claim
So he didn't believe that that's when the universe started out of nothing. He believed that there could have been matter, time, energy that already existed.
So you're saying that Hawking believed in multiverse, yes? I am correct?
No, I'm saying he believed that something existed to create all of this. He believed there was something already here.
Okay,
Whether it was matter, time, space, energy. He did not believe that we started from nothing 13.8 billion years ago.
Okay.
He just believes that was the beginning of the observable universe.
Okay, but that something, why can be God?
Where is he? Yeah, go ahead.
Mihai, am I pronouncing your name right?
Yes.
What shape do you think the Earth is?
It's round.
Okay, all right. I was just curious.
Is it round like a globe or round like a pizza?
It's round by the globe. I can't believe it.
Just want to make sure. Just want to make sure, because some people will go, it's like a pizza. Just check.
One other thing I want to add. Mihai, I know that you're a Christian and you believe, do you believe everything the Bible says? Or are there some things that you're skeptical?
Everything, if the Bible says.
Okay, well, how much of the Bible have you read? Just trying to gauge here.
The whole Bible.
You've read the whole thing?
Yes.
Well, do you realize that in the Bible it claims that the earth is flat with a dome, right? Do you know it says that?
Yes, I heard this interpretation, but I heard these claims, but we have to understand that people at that time, in ancient times, they don't have our knowledge about science, about geography, about biology. They all believe the Earth is flat.
That's a reasonable answer. Yeah, I didn't come up here to beat you up or anything. I was just curious as
And
to what you thought about it.
even if God Himself tell the people that the Earth is round, they probably wouldn't believe it, because that was the level of understanding.
Right, but why would God allow misinformation like that to be put into His holy scriptures?
Because the scriptures have the main role for people to know how they could save their soul, their spirit.
Well, on that note, though, there are a tremendous number of atheists who left religion after reading the Bible in its entirety and realizing how many scientific inaccuracies or just like things that are factually untrue that are in the Bible. One of those things, one of those things being the description of the earth as being flat like a wax seal and having an impenetrable dome for the firmament. So if the Bible is the pathway to, well, just a moment, please, because I'm still speaking. So if that is in His holy book that is supposed to lead people to believe in Him, and He's all-knowing, why would He allow for that to be included, knowing that that was going to be something that would lead so many people out of the church and out of believing in Him?
Okay, the main point of the Bible was not to be a scientific book. The main point of Bible was to be a religious text.
Right, but I think you're missing the point. Okay, the point that Nerd is making is, okay, so that's great. The main point, and hi, Will Dot, welcome to the panel. I invited you up in case you want to hang out with us and chat. The main point might be to show us, how to save our souls and, love and blah, 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 right? But if in doing so, the misinformation and the evil things that are written in the Bible is also turning billions of people away, wouldn't you as a God want to fix that?
Okay, I never believed that from claims that...
I'm asking you to put yourself in God's position. You are God right now. You are giving us a message for the whole world. And you look down at that book and you're like, holy cow, look at all this misinformation that these people have put in my book that I want them to know, to teach them about my love and my saving grace. Why doesn't He do something to fix it? Because billions of people are leaving the church because this is bullshit. That's what we're asking. And you keep talking about what you believe and what the message is supposed to be. And we're trying to tell you, why doesn't God fix the misinformation? That's the question.
Okay, so there
I
are...
have another point when Mahai is finished speaking.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mahai. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay, so what I wanted to say is that there are two different claims, two different interpretations of this, you say, inaccurate scientific beliefs that people get from the Bible. One of them is that the people who wrote the Bible were not perfect. And they, as imperfect people, they can make mistakes, even when writing the Holy Scriptures, even when they were writing the Bible. And the other interpretation, the other claim is that the Bible has not a single faith, it has not a single wrong aspect, and I tend to believe, I want to believe that even though that Bible is not perfectly 100% accurate by the scientific knowledge we have today, is one of the books, the best books that I wrote, that I read, and we can agree that is the book that influenced the Western civilization and the development of science, of human rights, of civil rights.
I do not agree with that. But Kim, go ahead and ask what you wanted to ask.
Thanks, Crystal. Hey, have you heard of the story of Babel, Mahai?
Yes,
The Tower of Babel?
I heard that
Okay.
story.
Okay. Let me ask you this first. Do you think that your God is all-knowing?
Yes.
Okay. So the Tower of Babel was okay. That's supposedly why we all speak different
I know
languages
what you're
because
trying to say. That
okay. But let me. Can I finish, please?
Okay.
Thank you. Do you think God knew that we were going to send crafts into space and that would get higher than any tower that we could build? Does that not seem a little odd to you that it's the way it is? Like, we've gone farther in space than a tower ever would, but yet God didn't like try to silence us or.
I don't care about that, Kim, because what he has done is said, men wrote the Bible, so there's a bunch of mistakes in it, and I'm okay with that because the bottom line is he feels that Christianity has done more positive things for the world than it has done harm. So he does not care that there's contradictions, scientific mistakes. He doesn't care. He has rose-colored glasses on. He will ignore everything that is bad in there, and he will take only what is good. He's got a filter on.
Which brings me to this question, though. It's like so many inaccuracies. How can you believe any of it if the people who wrote it were not educated and obviously got so many things wrong? Is that not a problem for you, Mahai?
But we need to understand that these were the best people of that period of time.
No, they weren't evil. They were supremacists. They were misogynists. They were conquerors. They were warriors. They were colonizers. They were not the best people. They were literal. This actually, if you read the story of the family from beginning to end of this Bible, they were some of them. And when I tell Christians this, they usually tell me that's just to show you that God can use a broken person. No, God used one of the most evil families in history. They abused their servants. They raped people. They kidnapped people. They tortured people. They cut up a woman into 12 pieces and sent her body parts out to the other tribes. They were despicable. These were not good people. This family was so fucked up beyond belief.
Okay, but if a horrible and terrible story, if we read in the Bible that story, does not mean that God's people or God himself is agree with that story. That story, even though is horrible and terrible to read and is in the Bible, that story is a wrong example for us women.
human.
Go.
Alrighty. See, the issue with that, our only information about this God is from these stories, and these stories are horrendous. They're monstrous. If we're to take them to be true, I mean, we're basically prisoners beholden to this thing's will, and this thing seems to be okay with a lot of despicable behavior. Is that not a problem?
No, you're fine, Kim. Mihai, is that not a problem?
I'm not agree with the horrible stories that are mentioned in the Bible. As I said, there are there because they serve us as negative examples.
Some of the negative stories are meant to be good. They meant for you to say, "Oh, that's amazing," even though they're actually horrific. But Nerd wanted to say something too. I'm sorry, Nerd. Go ahead.
No, you're totally fine. So I wanted to bring up Ezekiel 13, verse 9. It says, "My hand will be against the prophets who see false visions and utter lying divinations. They will not belong to the council of my people or be listed in the records of Israel, nor will they enter the land of Israel. Then you will know that I am the sovereign Lord." And it goes on to say, "Because they lead my people astray, saying peace, then there is no peace. And because when a flimsy wall is built, they cover it with whitewash." So, like, that kind of communicates to me, as a non-believer, that if the prophets of the Lord are telling false things, that they will not be listed in the records of Israel. Like, their record will not be kept and passed on to teach the people. So I find it a bit strange that the apologetic for why there are untrue things, like factually false things in the Bible, is just hand-waved as God only had imperfect people to work with. Surely he could have found someone who would be willing to record his word truthfully and accurately, instead of injecting their own false visions and lying divinations into the text.
Okay, sure. God could make this, could do this, but there is a problem here.
The fact that he didn't? Yeah, I agree.
People were not perfect in that times.
Was your God?
I'm sorry.
Was your God perfect?
Yes, he is.
Okay, and why do you keep putting all the responsibility on people? Stop it. That's not honest. Because you're pretending that there is not a perfect, all-knowing, all-powerful God who can do anything. And you're pretending that everything good or bad, well, actually, you're only pretending that everything bad is because of people and everything good is because of your God. Your God doesn't get to sit over there and not have any culpability in everything that has happened. He doesn't get to send down his word and say, "This is my word. This is where you're going to learn about me, and I want you to follow it. Oh, and by the way, I've allowed humans to write it, and there's a lot of fucked up shit in there, and there's a lot of wrong stuff. But what I want you to do is I want you to figure out what's right or wrong all on your own. Because I'm going to sit over here and do nothing. I'm not going to correct anything. I'm not going to save the hungry. I'm not going to do a damn thing. And yet I still want you to believe in me. That's the story you're asking us to buy right now. And I'm sorry if I don't buy that. It really sounds like a cult. The way you're answering is like a cult member would answer. It doesn't matter if the book that I believe in is wrong a lot because God. What?
I'm not a theologian, but there are some theologians, in fact, there are a lot, not some, that say that every inaccurate claim that Bible makes have an explanation. That
I'm sorry, but it's just not true. First of all, there are so many things the Bible gets wrong about science and nature, okay? Hares do not chew cud, okay? Rock badgers do not chew cud, okay? That's just a few tiny things that the Bible gets wrong. And you want to go, I do not care how many mistakes you find in what is supposedly the holy living word of my God. The word was God. The word is God. Those are words in your book, okay? And I'm going to just pick the ones that make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. And when you guys point out that there's a problem, I'm going to say, oh, that was humans.
okay, you guys maybe not agree with the Christian God, but we have some evidence for a God, for a creator.
What is it?
As I'm trying to say at the beginning of this debate, the creation of universe, that many
Where's the
scientists,
evidence that he did that?
again, a vast majority of scientists believe that the universe.
I already been through this with you. That is not true. That is a lie. And I've already proven to you that even Stephen Hawking didn't believe that. You cannot just keep repeating the same lie when somebody debunks it and say, well, I'm going to pretend like it's still true, even though she debunked it. Even though there's been a survey out for a very long time that shows that the majority of modern day scientists do not believe that the universe started out of nothing. Most scientists don't believe that true nothingness can ever exist. There always has to be something.
Okay, but if you guys say that the Big Bang is a lie, then why is teaching?
I didn't say that the Big Bang is a lie. You don't understand what the Big Bang is. The Big Bang is not a lie. The Big Bang, first of all, is now referred to as the Great Expansion, okay? It just is the expansion. That's all it is. And it doesn't mean that that's where we started. It means that's where we started expanding into the known observable universe.
Well, in fact, Mahai, if you were actually familiar with what Stephen Hawking had said about the Big Bang or the Great Expansion, is that it may not even be useful to refer to the time before the Big Bang, because time may not have functioned the same way then as it does now. And the reason we don't know is because our mathematical models only go back so far. We've gone back as far as our current understanding of science allows us to. Now, it may be that at some point in the future, our ability to, calculate mathematical models beyond that point increases, and we'll be able to increase our understanding of the origins of the universe, or at least what happened prior to the expansion. But that doesn't mean that they believe that the Big Bang itself was the beginning of existence. It is simply the earliest point at which we understand or are able to model what the universe looked like before expanding outward to how it exists today. So it's not explaining the origin of reality. It's just explaining how the universe came to look the way that it does right now, as far back as our mathematic models are capable of modeling.
Okay, so if you say that in the Great Expansion, the time was different from now, that Something outside the time and manner and space have to cause it.
It's not attributing it to a cause, it's just saying that it may not be meaningful to refer to a before the Great Expansion because our mathematical models cannot calculate back that far. And since we weren't there, we don't know exactly how time existed or functioned prior to that point. That's not saying that it didn't exist or that there must necessarily be a creator, because we see things all the time that grow and develop that don't have someone sitting there putting the pieces together to make it work. They just exist. Like there's not somebody sitting out in the wilderness putting trees together. They reproduce naturally on their own through developing seeds or spores, depending on the species of tree.
Sorry to cut you off.
Can I get your age before you jump in?
Oh yeah, 25.
Are you a Christian or a believer of the God of the Bible?
I'm a Buddhist.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't forgive my ignorance, but doesn't Stephen Hawking's black hole theory calculate past the Big Bang, or am I misunderstanding something?
It can. It can model back, but the issue is we would need access to like pre-expansion event primordial gravitational waves and access to like a buttload of energy.
Oh, okay.
So it's like there's one unique scenario where we could map before, but I wanted to nerd out a little bit on this specifically, right? So, I mean, as we map back towards this initial event, right, what's happening is the math that we're using, which is general relativity, and the FLRW metric, seem to converge into infinities, right? So that's where this whole expansion event business comes off, and there's like strong debate whether or not the singularity is actually a thing, right? It could be that how we math backwards is just incorrect. Like we might not have a unified model that is able to like correctly map the universe. But and on time, like to say that we know what time is now is also kind of like a big, I want to say, leap. It seems to be directional from our perspective, but when we look at like the grand schema of things, we don't know what the hell we're actually dealing with when we're noting time. We have a few ideas, and some of those ideas conflict.
I think I remember reading somewhere. I can't remember where, but I remember reading somewhere that if you grabbed a big chocolate cake and just took a tiny little crumb off, that's how much we understand about time.
Oh, if like all the confirmed information that we'd have about time would be a blank sheet of paper. Other than time seems to be a thing, like the title.
I mean, like, if it's all right, like for us Buddhists, when we talk about time, like we don't really see it as necessarily as linear. We think that for us it's more so the past, present, and future are all happening at the same time. It's just for us the past is just a different form of the present and the future, and et cetera, with the past and the future.
That gets kind of weird because is now for me the same as now for you?
Well, is now for me the same as now for you? Well, yeah, that's a good question. So, like, how I like to look at it is, at one point your past was your present. So the question becomes, is the you from that particular point in time a future self, a past self, or a present self? Because if we're looking at time like linear, it's it's going in one straight line. If you look on the outside, let's say from a fourth dimensional perspective, can you actually like tell the difference between past, present, and future self? It's like, because like for us, the natural world is always changing. The philosophy is if the universe has no beginning, it's always been in one form or another, and then it changes, and the same logic for us applies with time.
Really quick, I want to address something going on in chat. I'm sorry, Will. Then you can go. Ray J or RJ, whoever the hell you are, I've invited you up. I don't know why you won't come up, but here's the funny thing is that you've lost your damn mind if you think the Bible is the oldest book. First of all, it wasn't a book until whatever, like, you know, hundreds or whatever years ago. It was separate pieces of manuscripts that eventually got put together into one book. So there's no way any Bible on earth is the oldest book in the world. Not one. Not one. Okay? The oldest that we have is the Epic of Gilgamesh. And it might sound really familiar to you because the Bible stole a lot of things from the Epic of Gilgamesh. You might want to read that book sometime, Pumpkin. I'm sorry, go ahead, Will.
So I would like to apologize for hijacking the live for the nerd.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm really, actually, you weren't here earlier this morning when I had a little meltdown this morning because I was kind of mean to somebody yesterday, and I wanted to listen to more of you guys talk today anyway because I don't want to be a mean, angry atheist. It's been very nice listening to all of you talk today.
I'd also like to apologize if it sounds as if I'm coming off as preaching.
I felt that this has been a very respectful conversation so far. I hope all of you have as well.
And I want to apologize for my bad English accent. Sorry,
Oh, do not apologize. I appreciate that you even learned.
my third language.
I think you speak lovely, and I like your accent.
Hey, Mahai.
And Frank. And Frank, it takes. Oh, sorry, I have a super quick comment if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
I just was going to point out that it takes a tremendous amount of courage to get up on a panel to debate or discuss in a language that isn't your native tongue. So, like, please, we deal with a lot of people who have strong accents. It's not something that we judge people on.
Okay, I think that you guys will think that this man does not know 100% how to speak, and he wants to debate us on universe and this stuff.
No, I don't think like that at all, actually.
Would everybody be cool if I asked Mahai a few questions? And
No, go right ahead, Rob.
Grace of Mahai, I warn you. What is your stance on salvation? Like, do you think it's something that we need?
I'm going to be right back. You guys keep the conversation going.
So the first, we have to agree that something beyond this life exists to talk about salvation. Because if you don't believe that there's something after this life exists, this question, this conversation doesn't have sense, you know?
Well, I mean, I was raised as a Seventh-day Adventist, right? So I understand the concept. I understand the thought process. I'm just wondering, like, where do you stand on salvation? Are we inherently broken?
If we are inherently broken, in the religion I was, in the church I was, they teach us that yes, we fall from the highly perfectly standard of God, and we are imperfect people. We are sinful people who did once in the lifetime at least a bad thing. And because of that bad thing, we are disqualified to go in heaven. Maybe you heard this stuff.
Well, what makes us imperfect? What makes us broken?
You know, there are things that we do subconsciousness, unconsciousness wrong. We sin unconsciousness. And we know about this if we look retrospective at the past in our time. If we are honest with ourselves, we can see that we made some bad decisions, we made some bad choices, we made some bad actions that we don't know that was bad, that was wrong at the time in our past.
Yeah, but like we're not perfect beings like God, right?
Yes, in fact, we can never be a perfect being, and
Okay.
God doesn't
Hold
God
up.
doesn't be perfect, and then you have free enter in the heaven.
But like, is it just admitting that we're not perfect that gets us into heaven, or do we have to solve the perfection? Because to me, it seems like if we're made imperfect to be imperfect, it's kind of a big ask to assume that we can even approach it, right?
It's impossible to reach perfection, and the Christianity, the confession I've been, the cult, the church I've been taught us that we are imperfect people. First step is to believe this, that something exists in heaven, in God, and to believe that we can be saved from our bad things, from our bad words, and to live a better life. Not a perfect life, but better than was in our past.
But better according to who?
If we ask about salvation, we can assume that morality is subjective. That means there are many things that are inherently wrong, that are bad, that as and at the same time there are things that are inherently good.
Let's not get that deep, because like if morality is subjective, right, there would be
Okay,
no
but
inherent
scenario,
wrong or good.
if God
Right?
doesn't exist.
Yeah, but hold the phone. Just like, so according to who would our life be better, right? I think I have a pretty good life. I think it's better than it was, but I don't appeal to like the Bible anymore. Would I be saved?
We need to understand that by Christian teachings, we can't save ourselves to our good deeds, to our good actions.
If I may interject, if that's okay, I can what you just said there. Like, I think that's where I'd fundamentally disagree with you, because I think people are perfectly capable of reaching a greater extent of themselves through their actions.
Okay, but to make an analogy, if I made a bad thing, let's say if I rob a bank, and the police caught me, the cops caught me, and they sent me to the judge, and a cop that know me said he's a good guy, he makes a lot of charity, he makes a lot of good things, please forgive him. The judge will not forgive me, will they will send me the prison in the prison. He will
True,
not.
but in a court of
he will
law,
not
there's
send
something called
because you are
a judge
good
of
man.
character.
But also, can I ask you a question, Mihai? Because I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm a mom and I have 3 children, okay? And they're all adults now, and they've all turned out to be just really lovely human beings. Like I could not ask to even meet 3 lovelier human beings than the 3 children I raised. And I'm not taking credit for that because children don't grow up in a vacuum. You know, I wasn't the only inspiration in their life, and they certainly have done many things all on their own. They make me a better person every single fucking day. But one of the things that I did as they were growing up was when they were making mistakes along the way, I used those times to teach them a lesson. Like if my son was running and he fell down and he cut open his knee, I might tell him, listen, if you're gonna run outside, you probably wanna wear some jeans next time because you're probably gonna fall down again and it will protect you. And I would use that as a moment to teach him something, you know, and also to teach him how to clean his wound, how to, how to shake it off too, because we have to get up again, right? And we have to go about our day. But that's not what God does in the Bible. When we make mistakes in the Bible, he viciously punishes us. And for the mere mistake of me not believing in him because he's shown me no reason to believe in him, he's going to torture me forever. When he could, being all-knowing, all-loving, all the alls, he could just teach me a very nice lesson and say, listen, I love you, but I am here. Let me show you. Let me teach you a lesson. This God doesn't teach lessons. He just punishes. He's not loving. A loving parent would teach you a lesson.
If I'm also may add, like, you're saying, like, that judge analogy, but there is something called a judge of character, and that does affect a sentence. Like, one could argue that somebody might have a mental breakdown, and that's why he robbed the bank. He was going through all sorts of things, and he could be an average good person. But it doesn't matter what he did in the past. What matters is he does in the future. Ultimately, let's say he goes to prison, he could become a model prisoner. He could go through the effort of reforming himself and becoming a genuinely good and kind and loving and caring human being. I mean, your own religion argues that people are capable of that. I mean, you include Jesus into that, but the fact of the matter is people are capable of being the kindest, most generous, most loving people, even with a terrible, dark past.
Yes, I agree with you that people can change themselves, but you know, with that analogy that I said to you, I wanted to say that if I do something very wrong, somebody have to pay to this. You know what I'm trying to say?
I think that it's ridiculous for people to believe that there will ever be retribution for every wrong that has ever been done to anybody on this earth throughout time. It's just ridiculous to believe that that's going to happen. Okay, the reality is bad things happen. People do shitty things, and bad people get away with shitty things all the time. It's not going to change by us believing in things that aren't true. The only way things like that change is when we start believing in what is true and then finding very reasonable ways to fix the problems together as one human race. But until we stop believing in fantasies, we're not going to be able to do that.
In fact, there is one of the greatest proofs that God exists is the authority structures in our society that we have
Prove anything? That doesn't prove God.
That could prove the existence of Zeus or the Muslim version of God, or it could be any god. I mean, my religion has no God.
God
and
at all.
it
We
would-
do authority. We learned authority first by might makes right? Whoever was the biggest and the strongest was the one that we followed, right? Because if we didn't, we'd have to probably pay for it, right? So hierarchy starts actually, it's to me, hierarchy is proof of humanity.
There's also societies across history that didn't have a hierarchical standard that in other regions. Like I'm from Australia, Indigenous people here, the Aboriginal people, depends on the culture, but their hierarchy wasn't built on like one person above the other. Their hierarchy was built on age. So the older you got, the more authority you would have.
This absolutely is no evidence for a God, a supernatural being whatsoever.
I don't know. I think there might be evidence for a God. I mean, have you seen the man who is currently searching for me, Ryan Gosling? Like that man has to have been sculpted by a god.
Amen.
I'm glad that someone here is kind of agree with me.
About Ryan Gosling?
Do you like Ryan Gosling too?
To be honest, yes.
That's adorable. That was so adorable.
Man, it's going to make my next question seem so dark.
Go ahead and ask it.
All right, Mihai. Here's a question. Do you think good acts can actually take place when everybody's under the threat of duress?
Of what?
Basically, the threat of judgment by God.
Yes, there are many people who are feared to do bad things because...
Well, yeah, but do you think like those things, those quote-unquote good things that are happening are actually good, or do you think it's like extortion? Do the good things or I will punish you.
Oh, so you're saying if a person is 100% moral, if she doesn't do bad things because she fears that God will punish them?
I don't think someone like that can be moral. I think someone like that is under the threat of duress, right? In a world where we lack this judgment, I think that is where like truly good acts would arise, because I would do good things because I like to do good things, not because if I do bad things, someone will punish me or Big Brother is watching me.
Okay, so you saying that a person that doesn't believe in God do bad things because he thinks nobody watch me, nobody will punish me, nobody cares.
No, I think when they do good things, they're doing good things because they want to do good things, not because some punishment or reward system that is hanging above them.
And if I may, like my faith as a Buddhist, we have no God. Like we don't worship any gods. We're an atheistic based philosophical faith.
I will contradict you. Many Buddhists believes in gods.
Well, that depends on your definition of gods. Some of them believe in deities, but they don't believe in like gods in the way you'd understand them. It's like saying it's okay. So I'm a Mahayana Buddhist, but so keep in mind I'm going to be talking about.
Are you guys cutting out, or is it just me?
You talked. Hey, Globe, can I get your age for TikTok purposes?
49.
All right, and are you a Christian or a believer of a god or gods?
I believe in a creator, but I'm not religious though. But I wanted to ask you a question. You said there's no evidence. Somebody has echo. You said there's no evidence of a supreme being or God. So, are you a proponent of the Big Bang Theory, or how would you explain how we got here?
Well, they're kind of talking about that right now, and we've been talking about that all morning, but I don't think I'll ever know before I die how we all got here. I do believe that science probably has the best explanation, and I do not believe that the Big Bang is the start of the universe. I believe it's the start of the known universe world. Actually, I don't even know if it's the start. I just think it's the expansion. And I think we could have expanded and contracted. And I don't think I'll have all those answers before I die, so I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it.
Don't you feel like science is... Hold up, sir. Don't you feel like science is playing catch up, though? like
I
still
think
trying to figure...
is actually just studying stuff. That's all science is. And so studying stuff can only be what it is. We study something. I can only know about makeup brushes when I start learning about makeup brushes. All I know about them now is that I like fat ones to put blush on and thin ones to do my eye makeup. I don't know their names. I don't know what they're made of. But if I want to study them, then I've got to start somewhere, and that's science.
So basically you're saying you don't know, that's all. So since you don't know, you don't know, so you're not going to believe. I mean, that makes sense. That's pretty logical.
It's not I don't know, so I'm not going to believe. I don't know, so I don't care, because I'm not going to find out before I die. There's a lot of things that I'm not going to find out before I die. Like, I probably will never find out who killed JonBenet Ramsey. So I don't lay up at night, thinking about it. I just don't, because I'm probably never going to know who did that.
So if I told you...
Hang on 1 second, because Eddie's been waiting. Go ahead, Eddie's.
Oh, no, I was just, because I think it was not long ago. In fact, I might have been watching Joel Reed's Bible, and he was explaining more of how the universe has, like, series of expansion and contractions, kind of like a sausage, like how a sausage is made.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was an interesting way to think about that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He does talk about that.
Yeah.
That's a
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Globe.
No, I was just about to say, I mean, it's pretty pragmatic of me, what you're saying. I'm just saying that I believe in the Creator, based on experiences I've had in life. And if I told you what I've seen and I saw, you wouldn't believe me anyway. So I'm not going to even go there. But I was pretty, I'm not a believer. Let me get that straight. I'm not a believer, because you can believe in anything. I believe in Santa Claus. I can believe in the Tooth Fairy. I can believe whatever. So I have to have actual proof or see some, type of pattern over a long period of time to make me, even acknowledge something like that. But your approach, I mean, I can't knock what you're saying, but my thing is, what if you're just at the precipice of finding out all of the data of this known being, and then you're on your deathbed and it's too late? How would you feel?
Here's the thing. Everybody's going to go to hell in somebody else's religion. That song really resonates.
Not mine.
Okay, you will go to hell in somebody else's religion. That's my point. You're in somebody else's religion, you're going to hell. How would I know in my short time on this earth? I'm 60 years old, and I'm probably going to live, if I'm fucking even close to lucky, maybe another 10, 15 years, right? And in those next 10 to 15 years, I don't know. I just don't think any of that really matters. I'm not going to figure out who the right God is. There's been thousands of them. How will I know for sure I have the right one? Actually, I think I do. It's none of them. There were no gods. It's us. We're the only ones here, and we need to start taking care of each other and stop looking for...
Yeah, you besmirched the giant flying spaghetti monster.
I know.
what? Even if there was a God, what if we all pretended for a minute that there isn't one? What if everybody for a minute said, there's nobody else helping us, we have to help each other? And we all started taking care of each other, and we all started loving each other and actually fucking doing it, not just fucking saying it, right? We stopped with the fucking bigotry and the hatred. We stopped judging each other over everything. And we started actually taking care of each other. And then we die. And there is a God. You think he's going to be mad because we chose to love each other? That's what he's going to be mad about? You didn't believe in me. Yeah, but we were really good to each other. We built a society that was loving, good, kind, no bigotry, no hatred, no racism. He's going to go, yeah, but you didn't believe in me? That's a God I don't want to worship anyway. If that's all he cares about is that I worship him, I don't want to worship him. I want a God who would actually fucking care about what he created.
Because the God of the Bible is a man. That's why.
That's right. That's right.
Jealous. He don't want nobody above him.
That's a wrong statement.
I mean,
Does
so wrong.
the Abrahamic God have a penis?
He must.
Did Moses not see? So who? So, let me ask you this. So who did? Was it Moses? No, it was Abraham. Who did Abraham see then when he saw God in the flesh? Who was he talking to?
He was fucking
Jared from Subway.
I'm just saying that's in the Bible that he spoke to God in the flesh.
You know,
Witnesses?
water could reflect your image back at you.
But it was Moses, actually, because he says that with Moses I speak face to face. It was Moses.
It was Moses, right?
Yeah, it was. But he didn't see anybody because Moses didn't exist. It's just that simple, too. Moses didn't exist. Oh, even most Jewish people don't believe that Moses was a real person. So he didn't see anybody.
Yeah, historically speaking, there's no mention of a Moses. I believe Moses was the adopted brother of the Pharaoh. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, and there's no mention of it. I think he was who was it? Was he Ramses II or Ramses I?
I cannot remember because I feel like they messed that up. I feel like that's one of the anachronisms in the Bible is about which pharaoh it was.
But it's like it's odd to me that there is no like record. Like the Egyptians recorded everything, and I mean everything. They recorded anything and everyone of importance, and they never mentioned a Moses or their slaves leaving for their homeland or Israel or wherever it was they was going to. But don't you find? I always find that very weird that supposedly this individual Moses who read the Ten Commandments led the Jews out of the Hebrews out of Egypt and across the Red Sea, but there's no mention of him anywhere in any Egyptian texts. The surviving ones from the time period he was supposedly alive at.
Well, I mean, that's...
So you saying that it's all allegory, sir?
No, I'm saying what I'm saying is what we do. This is what we know about ancient Egyptian history. So when we talk about ancient Egypt, we got to understand that it's not one homogeneous timeline of one individual culture. It's split in several different time periods. The one that Moses would have been from was the Old Kingdom, which is the furthest. It's one of the furthest you can get to. It's very likely that Moses was actually a invention of the Hebrews because at the time there was in the Old Kingdom there were several wars going on between the Canaanites and the Egyptians, and it happened it always happened every 20 years, maybe every 10 years or so. These wars would break out and they'd enter extreme conflicts, and it just so happens that Hebrews were caught in the middle of those conflicts. And it's very likely that what Moses actually was a mythological representation created by the Hebrew people to give them a sense of hope of, and that's very common. Like you see that across all of the Middle East at the time.
So basically, like the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Ten Commandments, they said came from that. Is that true or not, sir?
Yeah, it's like that. So the Book of the Dead is, again, it's a mythological text to help people understand what happens after death. And this is the same situation with Moses. You're like, the Hebrews probably, because of this disenfranchisement, because of these wars, probably lost track of where they came from. They probably did end up in what is modern day Palestine, and established that as their homeland and the Holy Land and all of that. Because of the disenfranchisement of being caught in between a war. And this is very common across history. You know, people would get caught in wars, they'd get disenfranchised, and they'd be forced to go into different lands and make that their home. I mean, it's what happened to Native Americans during colonization, for example. The same thing can be said for who else? Oh, what are their names? I can't remember the names, but this is very common, and oftentimes there's in a time period like that of the Old Kingdom in Egypt, they would create a mythological person or a mythological fantasy or fiction in order to explain why they're there, how they got there, after decades and decades, maybe even hundreds of years of that knowledge being lost.
Hang on, before anybody else talks, I want to say hi to Sunny real quick. Hi, Sunny. I just brought you up because we were having a lovely talk, and I thought this would be one of the times that you would enjoy being up here with me.
Yeah, I'll try to chime in when I can, but the kids are kind of loud.
Okay, but welcome to my show.
Thank you.
Go ahead, gentlemen.
Yeah, sorry about that. And even we can even point to today, like a lot of the stories of where people in former colonized countries came from, they're slowly becoming mythicized, and over a long period of time, that myth is going to continue to expand. It's going to be a lot harder now with the digital age, but nevertheless, the myth that the Europeans came over to North America to escape certain things going on in Europe, and they manifested destiny and all of that. And that myth has existed for a long time, like the myth of the noble European coming to, crossing the seas to unknown lands, great lands of discovery. Like that is a myth. What actually happened was they just came over here to start a new life, which is part of it, and then they disenfranchised the people already living there. But that doesn't sound as good as the myth. And over time, that myth has begun to continue to perpetuate up until the modern day, where we're now looking at it from less of a one-dimensional category, and we're now looking at the bigger picture.
Don't forget to keep tapping that screen, you guys. I am only going to be live for about another 20 minutes, which means I've been live for over 2 hours, and we're only at 21,000 likes. I've seen you tap more for no degree. Are you serious? I'm insulted. No, I'm just kidding. But I do want to tell you that if we meet the gift goal, we'll still live. We stay live for an extra hour. But if not, that's okay too. I appreciate everyone being here. I appreciate all the likes, the comments, the shares, and the gifting. You guys are amazing. Now continue. I'm sorry for interrupting. Thank you.
So, sorry if I went on a bit of a history rant,
No,
but
that's
most likely what Moses is. He's probably a mythological. There probably was an individual like Moses that led a small group of Hebrews to what is now Palestine, and they probably did set up a small, like maybe village, maybe camp area, and they decided to settle there. And over time, that knowledge became lost, and over a long period of time, more and more people started coming in, and that knowledge of who this individual was, let's call him Moses, was lost, and there was a myth that started surrounding this person.
I just kind of want to point out the obvious when we come to these kinds of mythologies and like Arthurian legends like Moses or Jacob, right? These characters who inspire. Most of these mythologies seem to surround the idea of explaining what happens after we pass, right? And it seems like humans, when we approach concepts...
Thank you, Creative. We're going to stay live an extra hour. Creative just got us all the way to goal. Are you serious?
I think that's for Dad.
I think it's for me.
I think it's stuff for Dad's bro.
Could be wrong. No, it's for me. You guys, I'm so sorry, but I have to show you what I'm really excited about real quick. I just got this in the mail, and if you're my friend, then you'll know why this is really, really important to me. But I'm so excited. I went to Sedona and I left my headphones at the Airbnb. So I got new ones. They just get done bought me new ones. So anyway, go on. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So as we look at these mythologies and we start comparing them to subjects of studies, right? It seems like for most subjects, we want to reduce the amount of information and assumptions we make. But around these mythologies that seem to be explanations as to a hereafter, we tend to look at more narratives because the reductionist view of what happens after we pass away is kind of terrifying. The cessation of existence. And that's why we see stacks upon stacks of these mythologies. Because nobody actually has an answer.
They're not Bluetooth. Gotta return it. Globe, did you want to respond? Mihai, did you want to respond or have a question?
If you don't mind, because I think it's all part of like the human condition where we need answers. You know, if we read a book or watch a movie or a play, like we need that beginning, that end, and it's something. So we always try to create whatever we can to just get the best image of what we can come up with. We're just using what we got, and that's it. Something like that.
I can debate on that because I don't have many knowledge about history and stuff like that. I have more knowledge in science, astrology, universe, stuff like that.
Good job, Crystal. Thank you again for the awesome conversations, you guys.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for all the gifts, and I really enjoyed the conversation.
For sure. I'll see you guys around here soon.
All right. Have a great day. Ray, RJ, if you want to come up, the guest box is open. I don't know why you want to argue with people in chat, but don't want to come up and just talk to people. There's so many people up here that would love to have a conversation with you. Oh, I didn't see Nerd Lead Nerd. Have a good day.
Skedaddle too. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Will, have a good day. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure you guys are all following my panelists too, because they're amazing people. Rakeem, you can come up as well if you'd like. The guest box is open. I'm kind of bummed. I guess I'll have to exchange them. I thought we picked the Bluetooth ones, but to be honest with you, I had looked at so many headphones, and this is the same brand that I had before, and I realized I wanted the exact same brand because those headphones are really comfortable and they get great sound, and I love them. So, but I guess I bought the wrong ones. I'm gonna have to exchange them now. Rakeem, come on up. We'll keep tapping the screen, sharing out the live, doing all of the good things. If you have any other questions or comments, Globe or Mihai, please let me know. I'll be happy to discuss or answer any of your questions.
To be honest, I got all of my questions answered about atheism.
Now, atheism is just not believing in a God. Anything else that I think all just comes from me. That's not atheism. What I think about the universe, what I think about ghosts, what I think about magic, that is not atheism. That's just my thoughts. Atheism simply is that I don't believe in a God or gods. Anything outside of that, anything else, whether you believe in leprechauns or not, you can be an atheist, not believe in leprechauns, and an atheist who does believe in leprechauns. The only thing any two atheists definitely have in common is that they don't believe in a God or gods, okay? Everything else just came from me. Don't think that every atheist thinks like that.
I read some days ago about philosophy about Christian atheists.
Christian atheists?
Yes, I cannot believe that exists, but apparently.
So there are people who follow the teachings of Jesus, but they don't believe in a God?
Yes, it appears in 1960s from a guy named man, I forgot his name.
I think I know a lot of Christian atheists. Now that you say that, there are a lot of atheists who tell us they're atheists, and then when they come up and talk, the minute they start talking, you think, you sound just like a Christian. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? You gotta know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There are some atheists that are better than some Christians.
I do know there are some cultural Christians too, where they don't believe in all this stuff, but they enjoy the ritual. They enjoy the hymns. They enjoy going into and to church service. They enjoy doing the first Holy Communion, but they don't actually believe it has any intrinsic powers.
Or they like the rules of Christianity, they want to follow them, but they generally doesn't believe in God.
Right.
This type of people.
I know that when I was a Methodist, when I was a little Methodist girl, I loved Catholicism. I loved that they did the little ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. I loved the chanting and the incense and the all of that shit. I freaking loved it. But I didn't believe in any of it. I actually thought that it was probably sacrilegious because I was Protestant. You know, Protestants and Catholics, they think each other are going to hell. But
Yes,
I loved it. It seemed so fun. It seemed exciting compared to what we did. Nothing.
I almost always thought of it as more like pagan, like witchcraft or something when I was Christian, because like they have all these saints they worship, and it just did not seem like actual Christianity to me.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But did it seem mystical and kind of magical to you?
Yes, exactly. Like it didn't seem like just Christianity. It's like there was so much more, all the rituals and like
Yeah.
yeah.
And I know it seemed cool to be the little veils that they would wear and I don't know, just, you know, like when they would have a black veil on and going, I thought it was like pretty. I thought it was, I don't know, it just had so much more flavor than my brand of Christianity. I'll tell you that much.
I am a Protestant, and I like their buildings.
Yeah, their buildings are beautiful.
I said their buildings are way more beautiful, way more.
Which is against the Bible. So as a Protestant, I didn't believe you should have a beautiful building because Jesus said not to spend the money on that, you know?
No, but spend the money on the anointing oil instead of feeding people. That's a good idea.
Right? Right? No, you're always going to have hungry people. Who gives a shit about that?
Gonna be gone
Curious,
soon.
do they?
Pour the oil on me.
I had heard that, like in my church, when we did communion, it was grape juice. Do they actually do wine, like the Catholics?
Oh, yes. Yes, they do.
Yeah, see, in my church, it was grape juice.
Yeah, we did grape juice, and the priest gets to drink the last of it. But also, just so you know, it's kind of icky because most Catholic churches you all drink out of the same cup.
Yeah. Ugh.
No, thank
My
you.
love how when
phobia would
Father-
never let me. Oh, sorry about that.
It's fine. When Father Mark talks about it because he doesn't like the wine. So he tries, yes, and he tries to put just, what he needs to put when he has people there so he doesn't end up having to drink it all. And so there's this whole, he couldn't do Mass, it was a few weeks ago, because he hadn't received a wine because he ordered this Greek wine that they use, which is much better and tastes sweet and is actually good. So he's like, I'll actually enjoy it that way. But I always love when he talks about it because he does not like the wine and has to finish it.
We used to have a priest at the Catholic church in the town that I grew up in. His name was Father Keller, and he was known to really like that wine. A little bit too much, if you know what I mean. Hey, Katie, welcome to the show. Have you been here before? I feel like you have.
Yeah, I have. I'm a big fan, Crystal. I love you to death, honey.
I love you too. I was like, this is Katie, right? Because sometimes I cannot remember with different profile pictures and stuff. And so my mind is like, I just think that's Katie, right?
Yeah. I had to change it because I got locked out of my old Facebook. So when I made the new account, it just put that K with a circle in it. I have no idea why or how to change it. I don't know much about it. But I had a question for you. Maybe you or someone on your panel might be able to help me. I've been in the process of deconstructing for a couple years, and I was thinking about a verse that I've heard my whole life. I've heard a lot of Christians say. It's the one where but I don't even think it's about Jesus. Let me say that. But everybody else does. And I think it's the one about him being pierced, and then at the end of it, it says, by his stripes we are healed. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Could you give me any context for what that verse is actually talking about?
Yeah, let's take a look at it real quick, okay? And if I have to, I can put out the call for Justin. I don't know if he's around, but if he is, he usually will come in and talk about Isaiah 53 for me. Or, Bible guy or somebody.
Yeah, Bible guy's really cool. I just found him the other day.
Yeah, he is.
We were discussing this verse. Was it on No, I think it was on Nicholas's live the other day. Yeah, somebody came up and again was brought up to Isaiah 53, and so we went through that whole thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so let's take a look.
Oh no, I'm fine with it.
Hey, holy honkers. Let's see. The phrase "by his stripes we are healed" comes from the book of Isaiah 53:5. It says, but he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities, and with his stripes we are healed. So what does stripes mean? Stripes refers to wounds, blows, welts, like from flogging. The Hebrew word carries the image of physical injury. Original context in Isaiah, this part of the suffering servant passage is Isaiah 52:13 through Isaiah 53:12 is all about the suffering servant, okay?
Okay.
The big debate here is that the Christian interpretation is that this is a prophecy about Jesus of Nazareth, whose suffering brings salvation. And the Jewish interpretation is that the servant represents Israel.
Right.
So
which is what I thought. But then I was thinking on my way home today, I was like, by his stripes we are healed. Is that at the end of that same verse? And I couldn't remember if it was in that same verse or not.
Let me look. Mihai, thank you so much for being here. I hope you'll come back someday and talk with us again. It was very lovely talking to you today. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let me pull it up and see if it's all the same.
I know from the conversation we were having the other day, I think it says at least 5 times before that they're talking about, like, the suffering servant is Israel.
Right.
Yeah, we went over it the other day, and we're pointing out to somebody, no, look, it says right here in the text before it, the suffering servant is Israel, and the whole baby and Emmanuel thing. The baby is announced and gets born, like, within the next chapter.
Right. It's fulfilled immediately. It's something currently.
Exactly. And it would have been either the king, the son of the king, Ahaz, or I can't remember what his name is, or the son of Isaiah, because they talk about the prophetess having had the baby.
So, first of all, I have a lot of reasons already. I have this in my Bible all, marked up, okay? Yeah. But you asked, is it all together? Yes, it is. It says in verse 5, but he was wounded for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the punishment that made us whole, and by his bruises we are healed.
Okay, yeah. That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, so it is all one verse, but there's so many reasons that the suffering servant isn't Jesus. So we can go back a little bit and we can see that it's not him. In verse 3, it says, he was despised and rejected by others, a man of suffering and acquainted with infirmity. First, Jesus was not despised. It tells you throughout the New Testament that crowds of people followed him wherever he went. Second of all, Jesus was never sick. So what are you talking about? Right. He had no infirmities, right? So that's not Jesus. And then if we go on, it says, if we read this part, surely he has borne our infirmities and carried our disease, or whatever. It's not in future tense, not a prophecy. Only so all of 53 is not a prophecy. It's telling Israel that the only way Israel can be saved is if Israel saves Israel, and that's right. Coming from Rabbi, by the way. Rabbi told me that. So again, in verse 4, it says, surely he has borne our infirmities and carried our diseases. Jesus was never sick. He did not have any diseases. Right. Okay, and then it says, oh, by the way, Rabbi also told me this, and he likes what I shared it. One day he told me it made him really feel seen that I wrote this down and stuff. But there are 3 ways for Israel to be redeemed. Repentance, which is also known as tzedakah, and it's an equal pursuit of righteous equity, and then self-meditation. So repentance, tzedakah, and self-meditation. So they need a pursuit of righteous equity. And he explained it to me like this, like everybody would get a reset, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Sure. And so everything would be reset so that everything was equal again. Okay. Then it says in verse 7, it says he was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. But Jesus did open his mouth. Jesus wasn't quiet.
Right. Ever.
Right. And then later it says in verse 10, yet it was the will of the Lord to crush him with pain. When you make his life an offering for sin, he shall see his offspring and shall prolong his days.
Yeah, and that flies.
Jesus doesn't have any kids.
Right, that flies straight in the face of Christianity and everything the church fathers have ever said about Jesus. Which, I think if he did exist, he was married to Mary Magdalene, is my opinion. He kissed her on the lips.
My newest theory is that Jesus did exist, but it went two ways. So like there was this Jesus who was like an apocalyptic preacher, never believed he was God, probably a prophet, like seen as a prophet, saw himself probably as a prophet, unalived. And then like some people follow him, which is what we know, like his followers and disciples. And then we see the whole split with Paul. And Paul, I think, is somebody who was part of the Jewish world, but wasn't obviously from Jerusalem and wouldn't have had the same type of recognition and like importance. And so I think it was somebody very jealous potentially and kind of like not unsure of self and saw this like opportunity. Oh, I can kind of switch this around and make it into this Greco-Roman Christianity thing. So you have Christianity developing with Paul. And my theory is that the actual like followers of Jesus and were closer to what like Judaism is. And that went on once like the Romans expulsed like the Jewish from Jerusalem and everything. Some went to Syria and everything. And my theory is Islam is probably much closer to what Jesus practiced or like what he was going on about than actual Christianity. That's just what Paul made of it. So that's my theory.
Right. Well, I tell you, Paul, low key, I mean, so many Christians are so unaware, they do not understand that Paul said something different than Jesus. Jesus did not say he came for you, ever. He never, ever said it.
Nope. And the Muslims basically say exactly the story that I'm saying, that he was a prophet, that like they don't believe like he was unalive. There's a whole story about that, but like how people start believing and somebody did a miracle. I mean, it wasn't exactly uncommon at the time to have these kind of miracle workers. You have what's his name, the Circle Maker, and the other one Mendoza, who are also miracle workers within the Jewish like community, and then at the same time, so like having these kind of miracles put onto you and then things kind of getting added on to make you bigger than you are, not exactly new. People have done that for a long time. And there are things like, for example, Jesus is said to have prayed facing like Jerusalem and putting his face down to the ground. You don't see Christians praying like that. Who do you see praying like that?
Right.
Where does it say that Jesus did that?
I can't remember. I have to check out. I think there was something about like putting his face to the ground or something like it. Not exactly. I can't remember, facing somewhere.
Wait, hang on. I want to read some because I didn't realize he said this, but somebody. Command to which Jesus, when they saw him, they worshipped him and all. Therefore, go therefore and make this. Okay, so I just want you to know. Okay, bye, Sunny. Thanks for coming up. Jesus did, in a way, tell people they need to go to all, because he tells them to go to all nations. You know what I mean? So in Matthew 28, 19, he says, go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
Did he mean all nations, everyone, or all of like the nations that like have been
like of that region? You see,
but he says go to all nations. Does he say make all nations? How does he say it? He says therefore and make disciples of all nations. So I don't know.
Make disciples of all nations.
I don't know, because also
I would feel maybe more comfortable asking a rabbi or a Jewish person. They would probably know a lot better than I would. But it seems like oh my goodness. I completely lost my train of thought, Crystal. I am so sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. If you think of it, let me know. I'm going to introduce Toxic. Hey, Toxic, welcome to the show. You've been here before. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you, Critical. How you doing?
What's on your mind today?
Yeah, I was just wondering, why atheists have this whole idea of, oh, I'm not gonna abide by, Occam's razor, or not Occam's razor, but wager, Pascal's wager. When they're going to be sitting under a deathbed, or let's say like they're flying and then they realize their plane is going to crash, they're going to turn back to God and just risk it before anything happens.
I have cancer right now, most likely, and I haven't turned back to God yet. I'm not going to turn back to God because I don't believe he exists. It would be like saying, you're going to turn to Santa one day. I literally can't, because I don't believe he exists. It's not that I am actively not wanting to believe. I'm not sitting around going, I'm not going to believe even if you are true. I believed in him for over 50 years with every ounce of my being. And eventually I started to realize the story just didn't make sense to me. It just didn't add up. And after that, I realized, oh, shit, I actually don't believe in him. And even if I was to believe in a God, it's not necessarily going to be the Christian God I would ever end up believing in again, because I found too many problems with that story. I'm just saying, Pascal's wager just says you have to believe in a God. Now I have to pick the right one out of thousands that have existed on this planet since the dawn of time. I don't know I would pick the right one. I would probably just believe that there is an all-loving being somewhere, but he's nothing that we've discovered yet.
Why is it hard to believe that there's an all-loving God that wants you to live in heaven with him?
Because I see that there's way too much suffering for an all-loving, all-knowing, all-powerful God.
Why do you attribute it to him and not the devil, Satan? Because we know Satan is
What about your?
Because if he's all-powerful, he could defeat Satan.
Without Satan, can you even have free will or free choice?
Free will.
Yes, absolutely. I have free will, right? I have, because you don't. Does God have free choice? If God has free will or free choice and he's not out there doing evil things, then everybody is capable of having that same free will and not do the bad things.
And they are. That's why, a lot of us choose to do good, because we have the option to do bad. If there's no option to do bad, then how can we know we're really good?
I don't have to eat shit to know that I like ice cream. I've never eaten shit, not once in my life. And I never intend to eat shit. But I know I like ice cream.
But what if there was shit and no ice cream? But you need ice cream to know that you're actually eating shit, right?
No, I don't. If I ate shit, I would know that it came out of somebody's ass and I'm eating it. I don't need ice cream to know I'm eating shit. I don't need shit to know I'm eating ice cream.
That shit was ice cream? What if someone told you that shit was ice cream? You're like, how would I know it's ice cream? But you wouldn't know. Someone tell you, yo, that shit's ice cream.
Listen, a rose by any other name is still a rose.
Well, a rose is what we agreed on to call it. It can be called like plaga.
I'm sorry, a rose by any other name is still a rose.
Oh, no, rose by any other name is any other name, because technically, rose is what we agreed upon to call it. That's that thing.
Right. So if we agreed to call shit ice cream, then that's what shit's gonna be, but it's still shit.
What?
I know, but in the end, you think it's ice cream. So that's why I'm saying you need ice cream to know what's shit.
It's ice cream. I'll still think it is what it is. Once you tell me, hey, this thing is called a book, I'm not gonna suddenly think this is ice cream because you change. I'm not gonna think that it is a sweet dessert because you start calling it the name of a sweet dessert. I'm still gonna know that it is something you read.
You need a comparison to know what is true.
You don't.
Like to know what you choose.
You don't need a comparison. You don't need a comparison. No, I don't.
Choices, we don't.
First of all, you don't even believe that God gives you choices. I've heard you tell people every knee shall bow. If every knee's going to bow one day or another, we don't have a real choice. We are all just robots doing whatever fucking thing God wanted us to do. And when he's ready for us to bow, he's going to push a button and we're all going to bow. That's a fucking robot, dude.
Also, a choice is not saying you choose me or you burn forever. That's not an actual choice.
Right.
It's like in America. Either you abide by our laws or you go to jail. Same way God's like, either you obey me or you go to hell. Same in America. You abide by our laws, you follow American laws, or you go to jail. So what's the difference between that and God?
I don't want a God who does that.
Or I'm going to torture you for eternity.
It's hard to hear you. Katie, it's hard to hear you.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead. You want to try again, though? Okay.
No, it's okay, hon. I think maybe my phone case is blocking me.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. I don't want a God who thinks that punishment is the way to deal with people. In his word, there is never a time where he uses correction to teach us a loving lesson. He punishes people. Excuse me, no, he doesn't. He does very evil things and calls that correction toxic. Please let me finish, please. I thought we were having a really lovely conversation. Let's not do that to each other, okay? He uses punishment and at one time he even says, on one time when he's going to do something, he goes, okay, I'll only do this as a punishment if they do this, whatever. And then he got mad and he did it anyway. So he's not consistent. He's not a loving parent. He's not a kind parent. And if you're going to threaten me with hell because I don't believe in you, when you've literally given me no reason to believe in you, then I don't want to worship you anyway. And you're going to force me to one day anyway, then you don't fucking love me. You sound like an abusive man. An abusive man sounds just like that.
But how does an abusive man perform miracles? Like people, like for example, like he's performed miracles in many people's lives, and he uses us Christians to do miracles, to do supernatural things.
He's never done anything without a human. Humans do things, and you guys give the credit to God.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying, and that shows how loving he is. He cannot himself and start performing miracles on his own to help people. With no other God has done.
It really sounds like you're in a cult right now, and I don't mean to say that disparagingly. I'm saying that honestly. You sound like a person who's in a cult because you're saying exactly. He doesn't have to do miracles. He just uses people to do normal everyday things, and then we call it a miracle, and then he gets credit because that's how miracles work. That's not a miracle then. Creative wants to say something real quick to you. I'm sorry, but Creative.
I already have a problem with the premise of God creating something to exclusively worship him. First of all, I find that just beyond narcissistic of like, oh, I need something to like make me feel good about myself. And secondly, why create us with the potential to do all of these things? Why create us with the potential of sin if you believe in this? Why? You know what's going to happen. You could make us not have this issue. You could have done anything because that's what God is seeing, like could do anything, and decides to make this absolutely flawed creation that's going to mess up and then punish them for something that he created, knowing he could have created us in a different way. I find, how is that in any sense fair? Or I don't want to worship a God that does that. I don't feel like because I was created potentially by a God, if I was created by this God, that I owed him worship. Not anymore that I think that my child owes me worship. That's just completely bizarre.
Well, okay, let me answer your first part. Your first part is the same. You saying that God is narcissistic because he does things to make himself feel good. That's kind of wrong because even we all have self-esteem and we all do things to make ourselves feel good. And we got that from God.
But I did not create my child. I did not have, I'm a mother, so I have a child. I did not create my child so they would worship me. Why would a God do that?
You created a child to obey you, and you as a mother want your child to obey you. So you're like God. So let's be real.
No, I want my child to be safe.
Exactly.
I want my child to be able to grow up and learn how to take care of themselves, to learn how to make good choices for themselves, to learn how to have self-esteem, to learn all of those things. I do not want them to essentially obey me. And that's also why we discuss things. I don't go around saying, I'm the boss and you're going to obey me. That's not how it works. And it's not for like reasons of you're going to obey me. Like there's reasons behind it.
Can I add something in here real quick? As a matter of fact, when I was a Christian, I actually learned from Dr. Dobson that I shouldn't be raising my children with just the idea of them obeying me, because in doing so, I would be breaking their will, and you didn't want to break their will. You wanted to guide their will or some shit like that. So even in the Christian paradigm, there are many people who would tell you, no, you don't just want your children to blindly obey you. Because if they could blindly obey you, they could blindly obey somebody who leads them astray. That was really what I was taught as a Christian. So no, I don't think that children should blindly obey me. I want to teach them how to use critical thinking skills to keep them safe. You're muted. I don't know if you know that. I didn't mute you though. I don't know, but you're muted right now.
Well, sorry. But I was also gonna say that I was gonna say that even you as a parent, you discipline your children when they disobey you, right? When you tell them do not put your hand on the stove when they do it, are you gonna say, okay, let's talk this through? No, you're gonna discipline them because you told them specifically, do not put your hand on that stove. I told you that. Because
No, actually, that wasn't the kind of parent I was. I did not go straight to discipline. As a matter of fact, we just talked about this the other day with my kids because we all went to Sedona together and we all hung out and it was a beautiful time. And we were talking about the fact that my son and his wife are now both parents, and that my daughter-in-law is constantly talking with my granddaughter, and everything is like a little lesson for her. Every single thing that happens is a lesson for her. And I said, I love it that you do that. I just want you to know my kids hated it that I did that because I didn't spend a lot of time disciplining my children. I took those moments to sit down and teach them a lesson, and they hated it.
But let's be honest here. You wanted your children to listen to you when you wanted to correct them.
That's how they did, because I explained to them why.
Same what God does.
No, he doesn't. He disciplines almost immediately every time. He doesn't take the time to ever sit down and explain things. When did he tell Cain why he was so pissed? Where does he give Cain the explanation for his anger? Where does he give Cain a chance to understand the mistake he made?
Can I answer you? Because he did it after he asked Cain, "Where's your brother?" Cain's like, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And
he does not tell him why.
No. Here's what he said. He says, "Right now the devil is laying at your door. Do not let him overcome you," because he knew what Cain was going through. And he said, "The devil lays at your door."
That's not helping. That's not helping. So he blames Cain.
That is talking
this is the first time that they are ever bringing a gift to the Lord, and instead of teaching him, he treats him like shit.
No, we gotta think about it like this.
Treat him like shit.
Think about it like
He treats him like shit. It really was. It was a horrible way to treat a person the very first time they ever give a sacrifice. It hurt me.
Remember, he even told them after the sacrifice, "Hey, you know what you're supposed to do. You know what you're supposed to do, and you didn't do it." I mean, he still.
You're adding words. He does not say that.
You want to find the scripture? Because I remember specifically after he got mad.
You knew what you were supposed to do.
Yes, find it then. Find the scripture, and we'll read it. Because I know what I read and I heard. Yeah, because God talked him through about him, offering the right sacrifice. I mean, because he knew he didn't give him his best offering. That's why he was mad because Cain.
No. Abel had beasts and Cain was a farmer, and he was just not happy with the fact that Cain was a farmer, so it's not like he was doing the same thing his brother was, and he just did not like that.
No, it's because his brother gave the fattest calf. Cain just gave some basic offering. His brother gave the fattest.
Argue about it because I'm going to read it. You asked me to get it. I'm going to read it.
All right, let's read it. Let's read it together.
Now the man knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain, saying, "I have produced a man with the help of the Lord." Next she bore his brother Abel. Now Abel was a keeper of sheep, and Cain a tiller of the ground. In the course of time, Cain brought to the Lord an offering of the fruit of the ground, and Abel, for his part, brought of the firstlings of his flock, their fat portions. And the Lord had regard for Abel's and his offering, but for Cain and his offering he had no regard. So Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell. The Lord said to Cain, why are you angry, and why has your countenance fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is lurking at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must master it. So he's telling him, like, what's going on? Don't you know? Hey. But he never says why he didn't like the offering. He just had no regard for it. He never explains to him. He's explaining to him what's going to happen if he allows his countenance to stay fallen. He's going to kill his brother.
That's not good faith. We literally read what he said. He says, if you
I was talking. It's not good faith to interrupt me. What the fuck? I was still literally talking when you started interrupting me. And then I stopped so you could talk. Telling me it's not good faith for me to finish my sentence is bullshit. Now you can talk.
You skipped the first part where he says, because you didn't do it well. And it says, if you did it well, you wouldn't be rewarded. Well, so he didn't do it well. He told him exactly why he didn't accept it, because he didn't do it well. So I'm
why
saying,
are you angry, and why is your countenance fallen? If you do well in the future, he doesn't say, hey, you didn't do a good job. And he doesn't explain. Even if he's saying you didn't do a good job, he's not telling him why it's not a good job. Again, he's not telling him why. If this is the way that this man fathers, I don't want to worship him, because when my children didn't do well, I fucking explained it to them. I said, hey, here's what you did wrong, okay? When you took out the trash, you allowed it to drip all over the place as you walked out the door, and then you didn't clean that up when you came back in. That's what you did wrong. Next time, put it in another trash bag and take it out. Or wipe up the mess when you're done. But I don't just go, hey, you didn't do well.
I mean, that's his parenting style versus your parenting style. So
right, he's a shitty parent. I'm a better parent than he is. It's very evident that he's a shitty parent. He actually hates women throughout the whole Bible. So, like, he's a shitty parent. He only likes half of them.
He had Deborah as a prophet.
Likes the Israelites, to be honest.
He had Deborah as a prophet, so that's a lie. He also had Judith, live Holofernes, so that's also a lie.
You know that there are abusive men that will marry women and never hit them, but hit all the other women. Big deal. So there was one person that he was nice to, one woman.
No, I can name more.
I don't give a fuck. Less than 5% of the women in the Bible have names, toxic. Less than 5%. That's not equal, pumpkin. That's not a God a woman should worship. That is a God that you should worship. He actually likes penises a lot, especially the tip. He likes a lot of tips. Just send him all the tips.
Hey, I can give you 3 examples. So 3 is enough to prove that he does care about women. So
no,
that's
it's not. Unless you can show me that he loves all women, then you're not showing me enough.
I mean,
if I show you one, that's enough.
No,
this is a God.
You don't get to decide for me.
This is a God who says you can sell your daughters into slavery and the whole other bunch of things that you can do to women that you don't do to men. So I'm sorry, but even if there were 100 women in this book, but there's still that in that book, it's a problem. Why would I worship a God who's okay with doing this to women?
Because in the end, he came back as Jesus Christ. He treated women very well. So even when the woman that had the perfume that put a perfume on his legs, they were talking. Remember what he said? So remember they were like, you're wasting this perfume. He's like, no, she's treating me better than any of y'all did. And even the woman that adultered him,
he said, let the starving people die. I'm more important.
Hey, Toxic, I got a question for you. Toxic, are you listening?
I'm listening.
Okay. Does it ever say in one place in the Bible that a man has to marry the person that essays him? Do you know that that's a rule? If a man sexually assaults a woman, that he's got to marry her, and that's his punishment? Are men treated that way? Do you think that's fair? Just answer honestly. Is that fair?
Yes, it does say that in the Bible, but it also says that
Answer my question, please. It's a
her, she has to go free.
listen. It's a yes or no answer. Is that fair and equal rights for women? Is it fair? Just answer yes or no.
No, actually, I can't. Yeah, it's not fair.
It's not.
It's not
Thank
fair.
you, Toxic. That's all I had, Crystal.
I appreciate that. Hey, Sam, welcome to the show.
Hi, beloved. I didn't see your DM until like 3 hours later, but I just saw it and I'm like, you know what? Period. I'm here now.
I'm right. I love that.
But what's it called? I didn't realize that this was that Toxic was here, but I was just told by Nanners when he tried to request in my live that he made a cream pie joke about Nanners' 9-month-old daughter. Is that true, Toxic?
Nope, not at all. I mean, she knows that, but I mean, you guys don't like me. So nothing matters what I say. I mean, I can say no, but you guys don't
to
believe
be
me. Nothing
clear,
matters what I say.
So, well, you're a stranger and I don't know you. So I'm less inclined to believe you than the person who has no incentive to lie because you're also a stranger to her. But anyway, so to be clear, what she said was, when she was making jokes about cream pies on her panel, all adults, that you came up and you said, but what about your daughter? Did you or did you not say that?
Actually, I didn't come up at all. So I didn't come up, and no, I didn't say anything about her daughter.
So you've never been on a panel with her?
No, I've been on a panel, but like in regards to that moment, I remember it clearly. They didn't bring me up, so I was still in the comments when that happened. So I didn't mention anything about her daughter. So like I said, but you're not gonna believe me over your friend. So I had nothing else to say.
I don't believe you over Nanners. I'll tell you that right now. Thanks, Sam.
Of course. I was going to try and engage, but then I remembered, wait, Nanners literally just told me about this, and it's like, what reason does she have to lie? Like, why would she give a fuck?
Right.
That's very odd. You're a very odd individual, sir. Ew.
Hey, anyway. Viking, welcome to the show. Can I get your age?
I don't give energy to age, but I was born in 1980.
Okay, that's fine. That works. And what did you want to talk about today?
I just checked in to see how everybody was doing. Dropped in, I actually have I like this group because I don't believe necessarily in every story and all these books and Bibles and stuff like that, but I do believe in the things you can learn from them. So something interesting that I have, a take that I have that defends all communities, is how my belief on what the Bible was talking about hell and heaven. And I just want to set anybody free who thinks, like who believes that was literal stuff. If you, I don't believe in a literal hell. Like I don't believe that a loving God would allow anybody to burn in a place eternally. It just sounds stupid. It's foolishness. But this is coming from a person who studies the Bible thoroughly and reads it often. And I just interpret it different. I think it's more universally for everybody, included no matter what religion you're from, actually.
Hey, Sam, I blocked him. I just needed him to say something in the comments so I could do it.
Period. I fully support that.
So he is not here anymore.
Anybody with that name should have been blocked. Toxic misogynist. He's just looking for trouble, clearly, with his name.
Very true.
Well, yeah, I think there's a lot to learn from the Bible, but it's really about its effects on society. I think that as I studied the Bible, I'm learning how harmful it's been to women, to minorities, to the Black community. It's done so much damage, and my whole purpose of studying the Bible and writing My Auntie Sermons, if you guys haven't listened, go check out Auntie Sermons everywhere you listen to podcasts, AUNTIE. The link is in my bio. Check that out. But yeah, the reason I do those, the reason I study the Midrash, the extra biblical stories, is because I want people to realize how harmful it is and how it has affected us as a society as a whole, and that we need to stop believing in things that aren't true.
I agree. So, for instance, like when I read the Bible, people say, well, how can you pick and choose what's what? And I say, truth can be tested. Whether somebody died and was resurrected, we can never prove that. That's just words. And if you want to believe it, you can believe it. But the truth and the teachings of Jesus are undeniable, like to live by love, don't judge lest ye be judged, things like that. I agree with you 100%. And I'm just telling you, this is somebody who did the church spectrum, who there is, you can read that book and get what you need out of it. Like I see people in the comments saying it's a waste of time. It's nothing that makes you a better person is a waste of time, period. Like we have to be assets to the earth. Beyond anything, forget worshiping deities and that's all beliefs, and everybody can have them. But what's undeniable is truth. And no matter
what, they're talking about, like, how can you pick and choose and say some of the things Jesus said was good and just ignore all the bad things he said too? Because I grew up believing that everything, hey Dudette, good to see you. Everything out of Jesus's mouth was loving, good, and kind. And it wasn't until I deconstructed that I realized that he was a supremacist, that he didn't love women, that he treated people like shit, actually. And once I started to realize that that's really who he was, I didn't really want to take anything from him after that. I was like, well, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be listening to these messages from him.
No, I understand. And when it comes, like, when you say something like that, personally, I don't know anything about Jesus. We're talking about a character from 2,000 years ago that was written about for so many years. I don't even believe things from 2 weeks ago that people are telling me about people, So that's why I said, I came in your group because I went into a few other groups and try to have like logical conversations about the Bible. And all I get is a room full of Christians that's all attacking me with words. And we can't just talk about the rational, logical part of the scriptures. I don't really believe in demons and boogeymens and goblins, but I do believe that in the Bible, when referring to demons, I believe it's high emotional levels of people. When people are at a high level of emotions, they do stupid things. All of us, no matter who, across the board. Or things like when Jesus was talking to a devil, who was with him to see who he was talking to? I think that everything that tempted him is what our own minds tempt us with every day. So I think they're like fairy tale stories made to dumb down strong truths that can help us in life. But as far as characters and all that, I don't even know, because they're so long ago, I wouldn't even know what is true or not. And the book's been altered. And we know that for a fact, that those books have been altered over time.
Well, I hate when people say that, because the oldest manuscripts we have right now, we can translate them. We have the ability now. We're smart enough. So was it altered before we had the ability to have updated information pretty much daily? Yeah, we know what those translations are. The King James Bible, there's the NIV, blah, 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 blah,
Right.
Yeah, bye, Sam, I love you. But I don't have to look at those. I can go right to the original Hebrew or the Greek and see what the actual scripture says now. So what it says is what it said. And it was a misogynistic, patriarchal book made by a very small tribe who wanted to feel big and bad. So they made fan fiction about themselves and their God and their people. And people took that and made it literal, made it historical, and made it divine. And it was never intended for that.
Money.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree, because one of the things I argue about a lot is that man is supposed to be the head of the household, and that's kind of stupid. Whoever's better at finances should head the finance. Whoever's better at raising kids should raise the kids. Whoever's better at cooking should cook the food. It's not, even if you want to say it religiously, whoever's better at hearing God should lead the spiritual family. It shouldn't be the man automatically. So clearly what you're saying, we can see in that book, it's clear as day, because it says it. It says it. Like, that's just dumb thinking the man should be like people. I'm a manly man. That's why I have Viking in my name. But as soon as somebody attacks me with feminine, I say, of course I have feminine energy. I'm a nurturer. As manly and as strong as rough as I am, I still nurture. I still help kids. I still do things. And just because I'm not feminine to what people think as, you know, like what they consider feminine, nurturing is a feminine attribute. So I know for sure. It's like when people say God is man. That's crazy because man is determined by. Yeah, man is determined by your man and female by what they stand by is determined by your genitalia. And if God is not a man, or how could God be man or woman if he doesn't have genitalia? I'm just saying from what they believe. For me, God is the
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
No, and it's ridiculous. It's obviously a book about control. Women were property. That's why Christians now want women to believe, no, being submissive, it's not about power and control. It's about love and protection. You know, that's how they wrap it up and package it for you. But the reality is, I've been married 30 years to the same dude. He's sitting right there. His name is Doug. And in 30 years, there have been times where, you know, yes, I was your typical housewife. You know, I stayed home, I raised the kids, he worked. But the bottom line is when you raise all the men in society to believe that the burden of all the financial burden, all of that is on men, you harm men. Okay, because that should not have to feel like that. That kind of pressure isn't fair to men. And because of it, we have astronomical self-harm rates by men. Men self-alive 80 to 85% more than women. Self-unalive. I think I said self-alive, self-unalive more than women, right? And they also are more likely to commit a violent crime, more likely to annihilate a family. That's
likely.
not just. I'm sorry. Go
Less
ahead.
likely to look for psychological help or to take antidepressants if they need it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that is because we put all of this undue bullshit pressure on men. And we, you know, and men think that that when we're sitting here talking about feminism and equality, that we're doing it just so women aren't subjugated. Listen, it fucking hurts men too.
Right.
We could share the weight of the world together.
Right.
Instead of you thinking you have to carry this weight and drag me along behind you. How about you let me help you carry the weight of the world?
Right. Especially being that money was, you know, like we were before money. Like man and woman had to figure it out before money was here. So when money came into the picture, you can't say it's a man or woman thing. It's a us thing, like you said, because we were before the money. We were figuring things out before the money.
And, you know, it's kind of funny that you talk about the money and stuff, because I think that the money also just proves that the curse in the Garden of Eden is bullshit and wasn't true. Because if the curse in the Garden of Eden is true, all men would still be fucking farmers, because you would all have to be out there toiling the ground, right? But you're not. Most men work inside office buildings and cubicles and things like that. Most men have some kind of job where they're in an office or indoors or doing something else. Most men are not farmers, right?
Right.
And most women have to work too. So you can't say, well, now we don't toil the ground because we go out and work. Well, women do too. So does that mean we have our curse and your curse? Or is it just bullshit that there is a curse?
Right, right. And you know, that in one of those groups, they were saying God said, no, Moses gave that story. And like I said, when I refer to the Bible, I don't believe it or disbelieve it. It's just for reference sake. But in their language, Moses wrote all that Adam and Eve stuff. Moses is one man. There's no one person in this world that we would trust to go up a mountain and come down and say, this is how God created the world, and we would believe them. So why do we believe Moses, who throughout the Bible made many mistakes, but in that time he got it right? And I'm going by their stories. And again, before even talking about that, I just want to see a snake talk to a person. Before you want me to believe that story, I just want to see another snake talk to another person. Just keep it that simple.
I think I'd rather see the donkey. I want to see a donkey talk.
you want to see Eddie Murphy come up and talk to Shrek?
Exactly, and I'm sure, like, I'm sure he'd have a fascinating conversation, like loads of things to tell me. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, no, for sure. But hey, you guys, I'm going to be live for about 20 more minutes. I saw somebody in the guest box. If you want to come up and talk, it's just an open mic day. I'm an atheist. What's on your mind? Come up and talk with me today. Also, if you have not, please go follow me anywhere you listen to podcasts. My podcast is called Auntie Sermons or Auntie Sermons, AUNTIE. I'm the host, CrystalJae. I write all my sermons and I perform them for you. We are decentering men and recentering the women by doing a sermon for every woman in the Bible, named or unnamed. And we just finished all of Genesis, but they're not all up in the podcast yet. We're on episode 15 now, I think. And the latest episode is about Judith and Basemeth. And Basemeth. I never say their names the same way twice. Like, I know I'm going to sound stupid. One day somebody very Hebrew is going to listen to my podcast and they're going to be like, holy cow, she butchers every name, but I think they're very important. And the story of Judith and Basemeth, if you don't know who they are, that's because your pastors never told you about the women in the Bible. They didn't really want you to know about, except the ones who were patient and submissive. Those are the women they told you about. And I'm going to tell you about all of the women. And Judith and Basemeth were Esau's wives. And in the story, they're going to tell you that they made things bitter for Isaac and Rebekah. And we're going to talk about why they made things bitter and what people have said and what I think it is. So check out the latest episode on Judith and Basemeth, Ride or Die.
Hey, Crystal.
Yeah. Welcome in.
I want to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to, if nothing goes wrong, meet Justin in October, right?
Oh, that's cool. Oh, at the convention?
Yeah. I'm so excited. But you know how he has all his little rocks and shit like Doug and Sharon, right? I've got a whole bunch of rugose coral. They're fossils that I found on my place. And so I'm going to give him one and call it the Fossil Paul.
Oh, that's so cool. Hey, I want to run a syllogism by you guys. Well, not really a syllogism, but I have a new argument, kind of like Joel's wet box argument, and I want to run it by you guys, and you guys can help me work it out a little bit, okay? So here's the thing. I don't think that it came from Joel's wet box. I think everything came from the nice crystal. There is this infinite crystal that's not really a crystal like you would find here on Earth because it's like immaterial, but everything came from the crystal because of the vibrations that crystals put off. And that created everything. The thing is that the message kind of got mixed up over the years. And so people changed it and they said God spoke things into existence. But it was really the crystal vibrating things into existence. And the reason we know that this is probably more likely to have happened than the way they say it is because we know that crystals are actually, basically timekeepers. They keep time. We use quartz crystals to keep time in watches because, time comes from the nice crystal, right? And so even when they try to explain where humans come from, they say that, God took dirt or whatever, but dirt is just ground up crystals, right? So they're really just admitting that everything came from the great crystal. And let me see. I feel like there was one more thing. I can't remember, but that's why he also uses crystals throughout the Bible, like in the breastplate of righteousness and stuff like that. It's because everything came from the nice crystal. What do you guys think? Do you think it's better than the one?
Love it.
I love it.
100% better. I love it.
You're gonna get some people upset.
Oh, they're gonna be big mad, but I'm here for that.
I know, like, my whole theory about Jesus and Jesus actually, his actual, like, beliefs and the way he practiced, that the Muslims probably got it much more right than the Christians. I know that one's gonna set some people off, like, seriously.
I love it that you said that.
When I told Nicholas yesterday on his live, I saw him, like, I saw the smile of, like, yep, that one's gonna set them off, like, really set them off.
I guarantee it.
Hey, C, welcome to the show. Oh, did you do it accidental? That's okay. Well, I'm glad you're in here, C. Welcome. I am Crystal. Anyway, yeah, I think it's proof because, you know, obviously time comes from a crystal. That's why crystals keep time. It's very evident. I'm just saying, you know, and yeah, and I think that there's, I know, like the Bible always alludes to crystals anyway. It'll say things like, you know, Peter, you are the rock or something like that. You know, well, like it'll say things like you are the rock. It's just a crystal. It's
yeah,
really
I think you need to bring in the term minerals, because like the crystal is like made of minerals, and like the earth is too. And see, the crystal is like really the sublimation of minerals, because look at a crystal. I mean,
and even atheists know that we all come from stars, right? And what is a star but if not a really big, huge, hot fucking crystal in the sky? And he's not naked, he's just shirtless, okay? He's just changing after he got home from work and walked by without a shirt on. Anyway, yeah, so even atheists know that we all come from a crystal because we're all stardust, right? And we're all going to become stardust.
Came from a crystal.
Did you hear him? Did you guys hear that?
Heard of it.
All my kids came from a crystal.
Now, did you hear it?
Yes.
That is proof that life comes from crystal, because I produced life. So I don't know. That's more evidence, I think. More evidence.
Definitely. And yeah, I think going on like Peter the Rock and like finding as much as stuff that refers to rocks, crystals, anything. And like, see, it just makes complete sense. And then the whole, like the stones on the, what's it called?
The breastplate of righteousness.
Exactly. One for each and everything. You're like, yes, definitely.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, that is why they're so important. That is why we seek, I mean, diamonds. Come on, who doesn't want, a diamond is just a motherfucking crystal.
Also, look at the first peoples, like they were using rocks and they were painting things on rocks because, you know, they knew that it was the great crystal.
So, yep, I think it is. And the reason why I said nice crystal is because in my bio, it says that I'm a nice lady and everybody makes jokes about that. Okay, if you haven't heard the nice lady story, I'm going to share that with you. And then I'm going to go ahead and end for today because I'm going to eat some lunch. Hubby came home from work early and I'm hungry, so I'm going to eat some lunch. But here is the nice lady story. When my son was little, he was about 4. I put him in timeout in his room. And while he was in timeout, he started to play with his cars and he was rolling them around on the wall like that. And as he did, you know, I didn't like close the door when they were in time. I never closed the door. I hated doors closed because I wanted to make sure they were okay. You know, so I always made the doors be open. So he's rolling it along and he decides to roll outside of his bedroom and on the wall. But he realizes, hey, I'm actually supposed to be in timeout right now. Like, is she going to be okay with this can I go outside my room and do this? And then he thought, yeah, she's a nice lady. And I think that's just the funniest thing that my 4-year-old thought about me, his mom, is that she's a nice lady. And so I put that in my bio like for many years. And
I love that.
So, but then if you listen to my podcast, you'll hear me say, I'm nice lady without the article. I won't say I'm a nice lady. I go, I'm nice lady, because Joel Reed's Bible says that, because, you know, he doesn't read the Bible. Joel reads Bible. So he says, Crystal, nice lady. Crystal's nice lady. So anyway, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and go eat some lunch. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate you. I owe you guys about 10 minutes on the next show, okay? But I'll be back Monday, and yeah, and I'll have a new, I think that I'm going to have a bonus episode for you next week. So I think that's going to be the extended version of Ada. Oh, wait, what are their names? People sometimes come up and ask me about the women of Genesis, and I feel like a fake because I can't always remember their names and stuff. And it's because they all start to run together after a while. Like, I can't really remember for sure. Let me tell you who it's going to be. It will be Ada and Zillah, Ornament and Shadow. It's actually one of my favorite sermons I ever did, but I'm going to expand it for you. So it's going to be an expanded edition. Make sure you tune in Monday, and then I'll release that for you. Probably this weekend, I'll probably record it and release it for you after I get done writing it. So make sure you guys go check out today's episode and leave a comment. I love seeing your comments. Everybody have a wonderful day. Creative, Katie, thanks for being here. Ken,